Peace, everybody. What's going on? Dynasty Mir, search for Uhuru. Thank you for joining. Let's get some more people in the chat room. Let me start off with this. I think this is important. Hold on one second. Here we go. Okay. Let me start off with this. I think this is important. Number one, I agree with ADOS in regards to that we have a claim, a specific claim against the U.S. government in regards to the labor that our ancestors put in building this country that they were not in which they were not compensated for. I agree. I also agree with, in fact, I'll say this. I bring this up all the time, and I'm going to continue to bring it up. Booker T. Washington of the famed Tuskegee University, Tuskegee Institute, came up, developed the Tuskegee Method or Tuskegee model. Please forgive me. In this, Booker T created an environment in which freed slaves would be self-sufficient and not have to depend on the racist white government. At the Tuskegee Institute, Tuskegee University, please forgive me, everything from your underwear to your socks, furniture, housing, everything was made there on site. Everything. He wanted to take this, he wanted to take this model method. Shout out to Dartavian. He wanted to take this, the Tuskegee method or model, please forgive me, and implement it in Africa. So what did he do? He brought in African immigrants and he allowed them to enroll at his school, at the university, under the condition that once they learned and developed the skills, they would then go back and build up Africa. Again, under the condition that they will build up, that they will learn and take those skills back to Africa and build up Africa. So do I have a problem with African immigrants, Jamaican, whatever, coming to America? Because at the end of the day, let me say this. ADOS made it possible for you to immigrate to America. Facts. Facts. But the problem I have is a lot of you guys have gotten too comfortable. The skills that you're learning in America, you should need to take back to Africa and build Africa. And help develop Africa. Whether it be Nigeria, Ghana, whatever country you are from, you need to go back and help build the continent. And Black Americans, ADOS, need to connect to the continent. Because I'm going to do another video after this. I promise you I'm not trolling. I just got to get stuff off my chest. Okay? I'm going to get to that. Because ADOS without Africa, it will be a permanent underclass, period. It don't matter, whatever country in Africa it is. You take those skills, the skills you have learned here in America, and you build up Africa. Because number one, Africa is the future. Number two, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to be an overconfident immigrant when your home country's on fire. Your first allegiance is to Africa. Your first allegiance and your loyalty is to the country that you come from. Period. Turn this off. And I think where the issues lie, I think where the issues are and where the heads butt is number one, a lot of you come here and you pick up this, you get so, I hear the brother, we can't get involved in our politics back home. And we can't talk about it because something might happen to us. Okay. But then you come over here and you pick up this American identity. You get involved in American identity politics more than you do the politics back home in your country. You're more passionate about American identity American identity politics than you are the politics about changing the issues, addressing the issues in the country in Africa, the richest continent on the planet. That's the problem. That's why I know I see a lot of ADOS saying, "Oh, Dynas, you attacking the ADOS, you trolling." No, again, I keep saying this. I agree with a lot of what the talking points are. I completely agree. Guys, let's hit this like button. Again, I agree. I agree with a lot of what ADOS says. I agree. I just don't agree with the end game, the militant integration. What do you mean, Dynas? When people say militant integration, what do you mean, Dynas? Shout out to holipsism, everybody. What do you mean, Dynas, when you say the militant integration? In fact, I got that term. I got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to holipsism. That's where I got that term from, militant integration. Here's an example of it. You have ADOS claiming that America is turning into Nazi Germany, but then bragging about how they're going to stay. Again, you have ADOS, Black Americans, bragging or saying, "Oh, I can't believe, oh man, the Central Park 5. Look what happened to Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin. Look what's going on in the judicial system. We're targeted. The police are like the Nazi soldiers, Nazi foot soldiers, the police. America is turning into Nazi Germany. Now, when the Jews were in Nazi Germany, in concentration camps, the objective was to get the hell out of Nazi Germany. I'm gonna give you the top, in the words of Holip. Shout out to brother Holip again. I'm gonna give you the top stalling tactics that I hear about not getting out of so-called Nazi Germany. My ancestors' bones are buried here. My ancestors' bones are buried here. Again, we talked about this yesterday. The ancestors didn't want to be in this MF. I'm trying to keep it clean. They didn't want to be in this mother effer. They did not want to be here. They wanted to go back to West Africa. So see, please stop with the bones are buried here. We've been over here. We've been here over 400 years. We've been here over 400 years. Again, Jews in Germany were there for centuries as well. But they were looking for an escape route. So if you're claiming Dinus, what you fail to understand about a majority of blacks in America are reactive instead of proactive. There you go. So what you're claiming, you're saying that America is turning into Nazi Germany. Once we've already seen the example of what happened in Nazi Germany, but you are still bragging and boasting about not leaving. Still bragging about it. Boasting about it. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right here. America's turning to Nazi Germany. Oh, the police are just shooting us down. Central Park 5. Next is going to be Central Park 6 and 7. Next is going to be it's going to be Trayvon Martin, Part 2. Mike Brown, Part 3. Donald Trump is Hitler. But I ain't going nowhere, though. I'm going to stay right here and ride it out. That's the logic. I'm just saying, like, help me out. Help me out. Oh, here goes another one. FEMA has bought 1 million caskets and they're under the freeway. We've seen the caskets. Why does FEMA have 1 million caskets? FEMA is setting up Nazi Germany. FEMA is in on it. The chemtrails. FEMA and the chemtrails. And here's my favorite one. Well, Neely Fuller says white supremacy is everywhere. That's so disingenuous. It's disingenuous to sit here and say that the white supremacy in Dakar, Senegal is on the same level as the white supremacy here in America. That's just a stalling tactic. But Neely Fuller said white supremacy is everywhere. Again, to sit here and say that the white supremacy in Senegal, Dakar, Senegal, is on the same level, and people use this shit. I mean, people will literally look you in the eye. Okay, so America's turned to Nazi Germany. Okay. I mean, do you have a plan? Do you have an escape route? When you remember you're in school, in high school, elementary school, and once every 2 months you would have what is called a fire drill. you will have what is called a fire drill. So you practice your fire drill and hit the alarm, and if there's a fire, you go this route, you go that route. Lynchings continue in America, have over 2 million black males incarcerated, over 1 million females, and no one, in fact, hold on, somebody just brought that up. Hold on 1 second. The missing females, missing black people in America. Hold on, missing black people, America. Hold on. Here we go. Media ignores African Americans missing in the U.S. Oh, here goes another one. Our black women and girls have gone missing, but few seem to care. Let's read this article. Let's read it. Hold on. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Let's see here. Victoria Shaw, a black girl approximately 15 years old, went missing Monday, February 11th in West Hartford, Connecticut. 10 months later, black and also only 15 years old, was reported missing on Thursday, February 7th from Noble Square in Chicago. Ariel Murchison, a 16-year-old black girl, was last seen near the 200 block of West 111th Place, according to a community alert from Chicago police. The three are the most recent to take the dubious and heartbreaking list of missing black girls, particularly teens. It's a list that's quite long, and there remains no update on their status. Recently, the nonprofit Black and Missing Foundation compiled statistics from the FBI, which noted that in 2016 alone, 242,295 individuals of color were reported missing in the United States. A stunning 36.7% of those missing were black teens under the age of 18. In total, statistics show more than 75,000 young black Americans are currently missing. Wow. But again, we built this country. We built it. Our bones are buried here in America. But when I say, hey, do you have a fire drill? Does ADOS have a fire drill in place at all? Well, man, look, man, Liberia, man, see what happened in Liberia. Or man, Neely Fuller said that white supremacy is global, and the white in Dakar, Senegal, and in Kumasi, Ghana, the white supremacy there is just the same as the white supremacy in the United States of America. Man, my ancestors' bones are buried over here. All I'm saying is, do you have a fire escape route? That's all I'm saying. What's your escape route? We're going to buy back the block. Listen, get your money. I'm all about it. You get, buying back the block, man, real estate, you can make big money. Absolutely. Get your money. Get your paper. Buy back the block. Whatever blocks they allow us to buy back in Nazi Germany, America, by all means, buy it, flip it, sell it. Get your money. I'm not telling you not to. But again, if, as you say, police officers are the SS, the Nazi SS stormtroopers, America is Nazi Germany, or turning into Nazi Germany. Why is nobody discussing an escape route? That's all I'm saying. Nobody is discussing an escape route. Akon said that if African Americans went to Africa, they would be treated like royalty. Akon said that if African Americans went to Africa, they would be treated like royalty. I'm prime example. There's so many examples of Black Americans going back to Africa and being treated like royalty. But but Liberia, man. Fihankra in Ghana, man, Fihankra. So you have two examples of stalling tactics. I mean, hell, go to Jamaica. Detail, most of Black America has no passport. That's a problem. But you can point out two examples, Liberia and Fihankra. But meanwhile, we have thousands of examples of the Central Park Five. Thousands. From Emmett Till to just recently Albert Wilson, Khalif Browder. I mean, the list goes on. Do I have to read the whole list? I would be here. This would be a 1 week straight stream of examples, and we still wouldn't even finish the stream. The passport issue could be easily solved. I would implement some type of legislation. If you don't have a passport, you can't buy any J's. Go to the post office, get a passport, then you can buy some J's. If you don't have no passport, no Remy. You can't get any Remy. You can't buy any Remy. You can't buy Miss Patel's hair at the Korean beauty supply store if you don't have a passport. In fact, if I worked at Foot Locker, you come in there looking for some J's, some faux posits. Where's your passport at before you buy them? No Hennessy. Oh, you want this bottle of Henny? Where's your passport? The shit is simple. Like we're trying to make it overcomplicated. I'm just saying, like the shit is really simple. Black people don't have no passports down. Okay, no problem. The new J's are dropping next week. If you don't have your passport, you can't buy the new J's. Problem solved. That's 50% of the issue right there. Oh, you want to get that sew in? You want to get that sew in, that Yaki weave, that Remy weave? You want to get that Yaki weave, that Remy weave? Where's your passport? Okay, no passport, no Remy, no Yaki. Y'all going to the sports bar to watch what? Are y'all going to watch the finals? You trying to buy a bottle of Henny when you get there? Where's your passport? No passport? Okay, no Henny. You trying to trick off on these hoes? You trying to trick off? Where's your passport? No passport, no tricking. There you go. Easy. You said they didn't have access to Remy and Yaki, they'll burn the country down. Well, that might actually be a win. That might actually be a win. You know, because I just keep seeing these, 15 steps to how Nazi Germany became Nazi Germany. Oh, what's going on right now is the precursor to Nazi Germany because the same thing happened to Nazi Germany. Then you ask the solutions. Let's buy back the block, economy, load up on weapons, which is, makes sense. Protect yourself, practice your Second Amendment. That's the second, right? With the right to bear arms, is that the Second Amendment? Or what are those amendments? But again, when Nazi Germany was cracking, the Jews were like, we got to get the hell out of Nazi Germany. Y'all talking about I can't go because my ancestors' bones are buried here and we built this country, but don't want to build somewhere else. I'm just saying. All right, so if you guys, anybody wants to call in, put my email address in. That's another thing too, Darius. I'm glad you said that. There was a study done that Nazi Germany got its game from America. Nazi Germany went to American racism school. A lot of people don't talk about that. Oh man, dude, stop. Africa's 54 countries. Okay, if you're scared of Boko Haram, then don't go to Nigeria. There's 53 more countries. I mean, come on. I'm just saying. I mean, we got to stop with this propaganda. Darius, send me an email. Send me an email. Darius, I put my email address in the chat room. Send me an email. And you can hop on. I'm sorry, you guys got every stalling tactic ever. Hey, come on, hold up. I'm gonna send you the link. Hold up. Oh shit. I'm about to send you the link right now. Hold up. And everybody that says I'm beating a dead horse, I'm gonna do one more video after this, and I promise I'm done for a while. I promise I'm gonna leave the whole ADOS thing alone after one more video after this. I promise. I promise. But it has to be said. There we go. Hold up. Check your email, brother. Check your email. Hold up. Darius, I'm gonna get to you in a second. Check your email. Hold up. Everyone, thank you for joining. Make sure you hit that like button. We have 231 people watching, 99 likes. Please hit that like button. And also, if you're new watching this, hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell. Also, make sure you go to single I'm sorry, I'm tripping. Straightblacklove.com. Make sure you go to straightblacklove.com. All right, check out straightblacklove.com, okay? But yeah, it's just I shout out to Hopes on everybody. Shout out to Holopsism. Go ahead, brother.
Oops. Hold on. I'm getting the echo here. Okay. What's up, man?
Oh, nothing, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, I love your titles. Your titles be tripping.
I mean, it's just I just keep hearing this America is Nazi Germany. But I'm not going anywhere because my ancestors' bones are buried here. And we built this, and okay, here we go. We built Nazi Germany, so we're not leaving Nazi Germany.
Oh, just an aside, I'm been trying to send you a super chat for like 10 minutes and it's not going through. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, well, just keep trying. If it doesn't happen, I understand.
Have people been complaining about that?
No, somebody just sent a super chat. I've heard.
What the hell is
If you
wrong?
guys are having issues with the super chat, press 1.
Because I am. I've been trying to hit every time. Like I check, I figure, well, maybe it's what I'm typing is wrong. I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, one of the questions that I wish that I had asked the brother when we had the conversation the other day is, and this is for anybody that calls themselves ADOS, or they down with the ADOS movement. Does ADOS feel that black people should have a government?
I don't know. Let me pose this question. Anybody in the chat? Shout out to Simply Vocals for this super chat. Anybody in the chat room that that's ADOS that wants to come on and answer that question? You're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to. Beg at me, bro. Even British people fled persecution from England to build America. Facts. Or I'm sorry, they fled England to come to America and have Africans build it. But same difference. You there, Holip?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still.
Like somebody said in the chat room, I don't think anybody. I don't think they've thought that far into it. But the answer is no.
So you don't want to have a go
Okay, here
because
we
you
go.
can elect.
Black ambassadors. Black ambassadors. Email me your link, and then you can answer the question. I mean, email me your shoot me an email.
Because you can elect as many people into office as you want. It's still not your government. In order for you to have your own government, you have to have your own territory and land.
But hold on,
So I
but
guess the question just answers itself then. Because
yeah,
if they don't want their own territory and land, and I guess what they want is because the term that I saw in the ADOS 101 site is transformative government.
transform into what?
You asked me. But they want to transform the existing government. They don't want their own government.
But you know how many times we've I guess so-called transformed the government? Like okay, here we go. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna let somebody with ADOS, like supreme, like militant ADOS, answer this question. Define transforming the government. I mean, haven't we transformed the government? I mean, is it certain bills or legislation that's passed? Like what?
Let me see if this works if I don't type anything. This is
Hold
stupid.
on. If you want to hop on in your ADOS,
Okay. You know why it wasn't working?
what happened?
Because I put Captain America Negroes, militant integrationists, and Black Power Americans. When I put that in, it doesn't go. When I just leave it blank, now it's going. Isn't that some bullshit?
Guys, people who keep saying I'm ADOS. Again, I keep putting my email address in the chat room. So send me an email and I'm going to send you the link and then you can answer the question.
That is some straight up bullshit right there. Well, I'm letting y'all know what I was typing in there with my super chat was Captain America Negroes, militant integrationists, and Black Power Americans. That's what I put in there. Wow, that's some crazy shit right there. So YouTube is saying even YouTube is in support of ADO. No, I'm sorry.
It's all good. And again, and let me say this again. Let me reiterate. I agree that we have a specific claim towards the United States government. But again, in the words of the brother Holopsism, you file your claim. Do you want to continue this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? 5 years from now, we're going to have the Central Park 6 documentary dropping, how we're just getting treated so bad. I mean, do you want to continue?
You know what the most shocking part of the Central Park 5
Man,
is?
God, hold on. Black ambassador, send me an email and I will send you the link. I mean, God, what part? I keep putting my email in the chat and saying, email me and I will send you the link. Reply with the link.
Oh, man. Well, you know what the most shocking part about the Central Park 5 thing is?
Go ahead.
The fact that people are just now discovering it and it's becoming like a hot topic. That people are just now realizing that shit happened.
Yeah. In fact, hold up. You were in New York when that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So so break down, like, what was your experience as far as what do you remember since you were there?
What I remember is the general consensus was, because there was a lot of cases in New York that happened where white I remember what was this guy's name? It was a white dude who was on some Charles Bronson shit and he shot some black kids on the subway or something like that.
That's not the Long Island.
No, that's the black dude. But there was a white guy who did that, and then they was trying to everybody was rallying around him and whatever. So it was this vibe.
Rallying around the white guy that shot up black kids on the subway.
Right.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I forget it's a case from a while ago. I'll find the name of the guy, but it was a really Bernard Getz. Somebody posted in there. Bernard Getz.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the guy's name was.
Did he get
off?
So
there was, to be honest, I guess. I mean, this was so long ago, I can't even remember. I have to look it up. I believe he didn't go to jail or anything.
Wow.
But the vibe in New York was very anti-black male. Not that it's any different now, but it was more palpable. And Donald Trump, what I remember most of all is that Donald Trump put out a full-page ad against these guys. He was all in. He put all his chips on the table to try to get these kids, sent to jail or executed or whatever. Somebody said, "Why I block them?" Who did I block?
No, continue.
Okay.
It's like nobody blocked you, but
If I did, it was an accident. I don't know, or unless she was on some Negro shit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the vibe in New York was the white woman jogging in the park late night, black kids. That's a done deal. Why are we even having this discussion? Of course they raped her.
Right.
So that was the vibe, and it was and I would say people want to just single out Donald Trump, but Donald Trump did what he did because the environment was there for him to do it. He felt very comfortable doing it because everybody was basically on his side. Now people is trying to change history and pretend like, oh, what he did was so offensive. Yeah, but y'all motherfuckers was down with it. I remember.
And that's my point. Like when people say, F Donald Trump, he's a racist, but I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden. No, damn well Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, throwing Kamala Harris, we're like, yeah, we know those boys did it.
Donald Trump is low hanging. Let me explain the whole anti-Donald Trump thing that's going with the Democratic Party. What people don't seem to understand is that the Democratic Party likes the fact that Donald Trump is president because it allows them to fundraise. If they use him as a boogeyman, then they can fundraise against him and make a lot of money from donors. Because Donald Trump is not in the his personality is not like the typical mainstream politician who just fucks you with a smile. Like he's like a bull in a china shop. And that's what they don't like about him. It's not that they even have a fundamental problem with his policies, because the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi and all the rest of them cats, they voted for him to increase his military budget. They voted for him to have more control through the NRA, what they call it, the NSA spying.
No, the spine. Okay.
All of that stuff. They voted. This is supposed to be the resistance against Trump.
Right.
They would, and I'm gonna say this, and y'all may not believe this, but this is the God's honest truth. Do you know who the enemy of the Democratic Party is? It's not Donald Trump. The enemy of the if you had to put a face,
black people.
No, I'm talking about politically. If you had to put an enemy on the face,
your boy,
face of an enemy on the Democratic Party, it would be
Bernie
Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Ilhan Omar. They hate their guts, and they would rather have Donald Trump be president than a Bernie Sanders president. That's the facts. So this is why I always use that to show there is no fucking liberal agenda with these people. Do you think Nancy Pelosi is a liberal? You think Joe Biden is a liberal? Joe Biden believes him and Trump agree on policy for about 90-something%, especially economic policy. They might the only way they might disagree is maybe on social policy. Joe Biden is more LGBTQ XYZ friendly,
right,
than Donald Trump is. But other than that, in terms of fucking you over healthcare wise, fucking you over wage wise, fucking you over education wise, all of these people agree. The Democrats and the Republicans all agree on policy. So I asked the question: if you're going to vote for Joe Biden, what's Joe Biden's policy positions? Can anybody answer that? In the meantime, while they mulling that over, I'll be right back down there.
Okay, we got brother Black Ambassadors on too.
Oh, cool.
What's going on, brothers?
Peace.
Peace. So I wanted to hop in here, and I know earlier you were posing the question about, ADOS wanting their own government. Now, I wasn't going to speak on or for ADOS because I don't consider myself to be ADOS.
Oh, I thought you were ADOS.
Yeah,
we went.
I sent you the email, kind of just verifying that. When you posed the question, I was like, all right, I'll answer the question. But nevertheless, then later you were like, hey, if you're ADOS, do this. So I was like, all right, man, let me just see if I can still call up. Okay. But I also wanted to provided in the link, which you were speaking about earlier, when you talked about basically Nazi Germany modeling what they did, their methodology, ideologies right behind America. And it's a book by James Whitman, and it's called Hitler's American Model, the United States and the Making of Nazi Race Law. And that dives into it just a little bit, though, not even as deep as what they really got the quote unquote science from, their ideologies from. It was just more going over the laws that were basically mirror reflection of the United States of America when they implemented the same type of ghettos, concentration living areas, and all these other different policing laws, et cetera, that they did to the Jewish people, plus the propaganda on top of that. So I just wanted to drop that link because you were hitting the nail on the head with that when you just brought that up.
Yeah, and again, it's crazy to me that, again, if America is turning into Nazi, in fact, if that's the case, if America's Nazi Germany, why don't you have an escape route? And I keep hearing the same four stalling tactics. Ancestors buried here. We built this country, Liberia and Fiancra. And it's just like, okay.
I'm back.
Africa is composed of 54 different countries, number one. Number two, why don't you want your own government?
I would say that's a big goal right there, right? That's
not. But the thing is, what people fail to understand is we've done it before.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I hear you on that one. But and we do it for other people all the time. Whether you go on to like Afro-Brazilians, whether you go to Afro-Mexicans, if you go to Afro-Americans, I mean, all across the world, we do it for other people, right? Yep. We did it for other Arab nations. We have done it for other European nations. So, I mean, we could do it, but we just haven't done it for ourselves. Like, we get educated, but we don't get educated for a purpose beyond education We don't think about domination. We don't really think about that. And if we do, we think about it because we're already thinking about it for someone else, like the Europeans or like the Asians or like the Arabs. So this is something that we definitely have to curve and figure out how we are going to do it for ourselves. And you speak to that point, right? Building your own nation and not inside or within the enemy nation. You could build colonies inside enemies' nations, like no difference than, what Europeans did when they went into South Africa, right? It wasn't the Europeans really necessarily in Europe or Eurasia. It was the Europeans that were in the actual landmass, and they set up colonies, and they manipulated the politics and economics and different groups in order to parcel out the money and the resources back to the motherland of Europe. So you could set up colonies inside different types of nations, like that be in America today or Brazil, but don't think that's the heartland like you hear from the words of ADOS or any other person who really bites into that European or Euro-American identity. I'm an American, and that's just what it is. And think about this too. If you're a general, just be a smart one, right? Like, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but all I'm saying is a general doesn't go into a battle saying, hey, look here, soldiers, this is the last front. If we don't win, we just dead, we going extinct. He has a plan B. Now he says we don't want to retreat. We're not going to retreat. We're not going to try to retreat, but we still have a retreat plan, because then you could sit back and, yeah, you might have lost the battle, but you could go back, retreat, and accumulate your resources and your people and your soldiers. And then guess what? Fight the war again, go back into another battle. So if you don't have a retreat, a safe haven that you're building outside of the bubble of America or Brazil or wherever the African may be, let's just talk about America, then you're really not operating as a general. I mean, you're really leading your troops saying, hey man, I only got one game plan. I ain't got time to think about nothing else, and that's it. And I'm saying that you're dealing with a group that runs satellites, that run, dishes across, Australia. They have secret camps that run 365 days a year, 24/7. I mean, the type of other groups you're going against, they really put in work in order to be in that position in which they are. So if you want to get in a position wearing a shirt that says jobs and land now, ain't going to get it done, because nobody's sitting inside that bunker saying, oh no, they got shirts that say job and land now. We have to do way more than that. And it speaks to building a nation like you brothers represent and what you talk about so much.
All right, guys, let's get these likes up. We have 287 people watching, only 140 likes. Hit that like button.
See, this brother is reasonable. I thought we were going to get somebody on here who was hardcore ADOS.
Hold on, not too fast. Joey T is on. Joey T says he's ADOS. Joey T, go ahead.
Okay, because that's who I want to talk to.
Hey, what's up to everybody? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Good. So let's get right into it. I'm hardcore ADOS. I'm a militant integrationalist, hardcore American Negro. Let's go. What's the questions?
Okay. So you don't want to have a nation of your own, and you don't want to have your own government. You want to exist to try to transform the existing government in the United States of America, right?
No.
So you do want to have your own government.
That would be nice. What I want right now is my money. That's it.
Your money?
I want what's owed to me. I don't listen.
So why don't you sue the United States government as an individual?
Sue the United States government as an individual?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Because it happened to an entire group of people.
Oh, but wait a minute. So you're talking about a collective issue, right?
Hold on one second.
So this is not about you and your money. Because you didn't say our money, you said your money.
Well, first of all, the fact that it's my money is from the fact that it happened to my people. Now, I do have parents, I do have grandparents, I do have great-grandparents, and since they're not here, and since the situation that happened to my people is what's got me all fucked up right now. You see, I'd love to go to Africa. I'd love to go to Africa with money. I'd love to go to Africa and fix a lot of stuff. I actually got a lot of skills, but I don't have a lot of money. I got a little bit of money from some little business stuff I do, but I'd be a whole hell of a lot better off if I got what was owed to me, like other groups here that get screwed specifically by this government get. Now, if y'all think that means I want to wave a flag and become Captain America and I'm team imperialism and all that kind of stuff, I don't know what to tell you.
You just said you were.
Okay, so pretty much
What
all
am
the
I-
African
are you
immigrants that come
quoting
to
yourself?
America are team imperialists.
Excuse me?
So pretty much every African immigrant that comes to America to take advantage of the stuff that's here is a pro-imperialist.
They're
wouldn't disagree with
opportunists.
that.
I would say that. They're
You
definitely
ain't get no
opportunists.
argument from me.
They're opportunists.
Right.
Okay, now these people didn't. I mean, you could argue that they were victims of colonialism in their country, in great part due to America and other countries in the European, other countries in Europe. But these people are coming because of the opportunities built by America, not because they're coming to recoup on any wrongdoings done to them or their country. Correct?
True. I agree.
Okay, so if those people can come to America and benefit from the results of what happened to my people, how come I can't benefit from that?
That's a good question. How come?
No, I think you definitely can. I think you should.
Okay. Now
I would like to see his answer to his own question. How come other groups can come over here and benefit from the work that we put in and we don't benefit from it? Why is that?
Because legally on paper, we're not considered people here. Legally on paper, when we've made in history, we've made attempts for redress. And what always happens, like a damn monkey paw, they find ways around what describes us. And because of that, that's why a major component of ADOS is specification. Now, what happened with this is people took that to mean we don't like Black immigrants, which is not what it meant. It just meant, hey, all this stuff that's supposed to be for us that y'all made say colored people or minorities or people of color or Title IX or white women, we're saying that was supposed to be for us. We just want to get our money. That's it. We don't even fit into this country because we don't have no money.
Listen, I just want to just say this. It's 2019. Why is this an issue now?
Because we're still broke. Every other attempt we've made at redress in this country, it's not like we've been sitting here for 400 years, never mentioned it, never talked about it, and never tried to get this redress. Every single time we try, they play games with us.
So what's the solution?
What we're going to do, and if this does not work, it does not work. That's something and keep in mind, I'm speaking for me. I'm not Yvette Carnell. I'm not Tone Talks. I'm speaking for me as a member of ADOS. I'm saying if this does not work, then it does not work. But what we're doing right now is we are holding their entire political game hostage.
How so?
What we're doing. We're not voting for anybody that's not at least going to be considering our policies. Now I know the next question is going to be, okay, what the hell are the policies? And that's a fair question. The answer to this is we have specific requests and specific, demands per area. For example, if you're talking, let's say, Louds County, Alabama, nobody wants to hear what you're talking about gay marriage if we got hookworms and feces in Louds County, Alabama. If you got a situation like Seattle, Washington, where I'm at right now, we are not a very big population over here, the Black community in Seattle, Washington. But if you go through 2nd Avenue, we're a very, very, very big population of the homeless community. It's a little bit.
That's all over the West Coast. That's LA.
You already know it's Skid Rows everywhere. So we're saying, okay, we got specific issues up here. We don't really care about the LGBTQ community's issues up here that they're trying to push up here. What we are trying to do, at the very least, is get a Black voice. They use our votes a lot, and we're told every 4 years that our ancestors died for the right to vote, which they didn't. And so we're saying, okay, well, if they died for the right to vote and our vote's so important, well, now that vote's going to cost you. And if you can't give us reparations day one, okay, then you're going to work towards policies that are going to improve us until it's going to become so costly that it just makes more sense to just start cutting us that check for reparations. And one last thing, I know I've been talking a lot.
No, you're good. Go ahead. No, you're good.
We're not just talking about just a check. We know they're not going to tally up Whitey points and just give us a big old check at the end of the day. We understand there's going to have to be education involved. There's going to have to be therapy involved. There's going to have to be, yes, land. We're with you on the land part. We're totally with that. We know we got differences of opinion on where the land should be. Y'all want it off the continent. I understand that. But of course we want land. We've been cut out of the entire American experience, and that's the problem. Our only issue with the African immigrants that come here is that, and whether they know this or not, you are being used to pretend to be us and show the world everything is fine here with Black Americans, and we're not okay. That's it. We don't got no hate for no African immigrants.
Can you address the fundamental point that he's making with this whole entire video? Because I'm really interested in what your views are on this.
You know, this is
what is the love affair with America?
Okay, let me answer this question, because this title of this show was what made me want to call in. We don't love the imperialistic, you know, crushing, elitist, evil America that America is. If Black Americans weren't in this country, it would really look like the stormtroopers. America would really be bad.
So we're trying to save America?
No, we're not trying to save America. We're basically saving the world from America half the time. Look at anything good America's ever done and ask yourself, was that just white folks?
So wait, whoa.
I'll wait.
So our presence in America is to save everybody else from America? That's what our goal is?
I just said our presence in America, by happenstance, happens to have the byproduct of saving everybody else. Now, I'll wait, because like I said, I've been talking a lot. I'll ask you a question. If Black Americans were not in this country, do you think for the rest of the world, it would be better off or worse?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the world.
Well, Africa is part of the rest of the world.
Well,
Africa is not the whole world. There's plenty of other countries on this planet except Africa.
Yeah, but Africa is a large part of the world.
I would say this: if Black Americans were to disconnect from America, America would fall.
I agree with that.
So why not let it fall?
Why can't I get my money before it falls?
Get your money?
Why can't I get money before it falls?
Get your money. Like I said, why don't you
because when
sue them?
I will directly benefit. But yes, I want everybody who is Black American to get their money and redress from the country. Now, here's the part.
Can I please unpack that?
Go ahead.
Give me an opportunity to unpack that. If you're talking about a collective problem, then it has to have a collective solution. And money in individuals' pockets don't solve that problem. Now, you know what would solve that problem? Land. You know what would solve that problem? Building infrastructure, because that way you'll be able to provide jobs for the people on your land. And having a nation of your own, which means that you would have a government of your own with departments where people who have certain skill sets can be in those departments. We don't have a way to funnel all of our talent and all of our energy because we don't have any organization. So when people come out against nationhood, you're basically saying, well, I don't believe that Black people should be organized, but we need to do something. It's the stupidest thing in the world. It makes absolutely no fucking sense.
I want to make sure I'm not cutting you off. Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't remember any prominent ADOS members, and I can speak for myself, have never said we do not want nationhood and we do not want land. I just got done telling you.
Really?
I just got done telling you, and y'all can play this back when it's done if I'm lying. I just said, we're not pushing for just a check. A part of this is land. A part of this is therapy. A part of this is education. So we're not throwing away land and saying the idea of land is bad. Of course we want land.
But then let me ask you another question.
In the Southeast.
Let me ask you another question.
Go ahead,
since you're not against land and you're not against infrastructure, two things that you are not going to have in America, because it was actually a civil war when somebody tried to, secede from the Union. So having a separate piece of land, and why would you want logistically to have your land right dead in the center of your enemies?
Okay, let me answer that question. First of all, African Americans forming a nation, a statehood, autonomous statehood, anywhere in the world is going to be a declaration of war. Period. Now we can have a different opinion of that. No. You're not just going to roll up and just establish a nationhood like that on a landmass anywhere in the world without there being no problems. Every country in the world deals with that problem.
Man, you remember when Hong Kong went to war with China? I mean, that was a terrible war.
Hey, they didn't go to war with China. When did they go to war with China?
Okay, but China
when that happened. China
don't got beef with Taiwan. China don't got beef with Taiwan. That's
because it didn't happen. The problem is people are so one-dimensional in their thinking when it comes up to. Have anybody ever heard of the concept of land negotiation, or is that something that I just made up? You can go to the actual dictionary or go online and find out there's actually people who are employed as land negotiators. Why does everybody think that to develop land or to get land that you got to go to war and start taking out guns and shooting people and taking over the indigenous population? What the hell, man? That's so one-dimensional thinking.
Okay,
but that's
again,
a Euro
I have
construct.
my bad, bro.
I would,
Go ahead. I want to jump over y'all. Go ahead.
no, that's cool. I would say that's the Euro construct, right? You only know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of history that Africans or a lot of other people actually read is European history. So when they just look back, the only reference that they do have is that what you just stated. Oh, we got to colonize.
Battered woman syndrome.
Not say colonize. Like I told the brother, we can learn Swahili across Africa. It will be a slow implementation in the development. He was like, "How the hell you gonna do that to all them people over there? We just got to kill them." I'm like, "Nah, nobody got to do what Europeans do." But just because you only know of European history and existence, you think that, you know, all Homo sapiens been fighting wars just like Europeans all the way back to so many years ago. But you don't know nothing about other civilizations and human beings. So without that knowledge, and you don't know what you don't know, you make projections in a linear fashion of with the information and what you hold. So that's what that is, right? What you just said. Oh, how are we gonna kill them? We're gonna colonize them.
Can I throw something else into the mix?
I'm all ears.
These are symptoms of battered person syndrome. I'm just going to read you a couple of them.
Okay.
Experience feelings, avoid situations that remind them of the abuse. Experience feelings of anger, sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. Have intense feelings of fear. Have panic attacks or flashbacks to the abuse.
All right, now check this out. I never said colonize. I just want to clarify that. I never said colonize, but we cherry picked Hong Kong and China. We don't talk about Taiwan and China. What I'm talking about is nations often have beef about their establishment of their territory. Now, if we got a bunch of money and we can buy our way into something, possibly. But realistically, since we don't have capital, we don't have money on a large scale like that, you're going to have to go in under some other country. You're going to have to go in under their protection. We're going to have to go in kind of dirty. Now, if we were going in with money, like realistically, I'm going to tell you guys something super quick. If y'all really wanted to repatriate, I could tell you in 3 easy steps how you could do it. And I have no problems with Black Americans. Step 1, you give them some damn money. Step 2, you put on a charm offensive with that money on whatever country you want to move to. If you start paying these people to get contracts, you can move right in the same way the Chinese do. And step 3, you just relocate. It's that fucking easy.
Can I ask you a question though? Like since you brought those steps,
real quick, Colo, go ahead and respond, and I got a brother guy too.
Since you brought that up, what gave you the impression that it was going to be done any other way? Like, what was the way that you thought we were going to obtain land? Were we going to go over there with 9mm?
No, I didn't think you guys have it in your Pan-Africanists don't typically have it in their heart to do nothing violent towards other Africans. I do feel like, and this is my criticism, y'all have not clearly explained how you're going to do this with no capital, no money. And I'm talking big money. China's coming in with 60 billion on countries. I'm talking about big money.
Well, one way, how are we going to do anything if we don't even think that we should organize? Are you a part of this equation, or are you sitting outside like the Watcher from Marvel Comics? Are you involved in this?
All right, time out.
Because if we're talking about collective, hold on, we're talking about collective. There's about 50 million Black people here in America?
55, from my understanding.
55?
Something like
what are we doing to try to pool those resources together before we start talking about where's the capital at? Where's the vehicle to pull those resources, those 55 million Black people in this country together? Where's it at?
So you need to pull all these resources together to find out you don't have enough resources. It's not hard.
We don't have enough. You mean to tell me that we, as 55 million Black people in this country, don't have enough resources to do what?
Build a damn nation on another.
Oh, but we got enough resources to make people filthy fucking rich.
Korean.
Make people in the hood. Wait, time out. See, that's it.
So we're not empowering, we're not giving money to any of these other people, but when it comes time to doing something for ourselves, now we don't have no money. But we got money for everybody else except
you just made hold up. So you just said because we make other people money, we should have money.
I'm saying that if I
would like to add something right quick.
Hey, hold on. Let me just say this, man.
Hold up, 1 second, hold up. Well, hold up. Finish your statement, then let Brother Daniel, he's on. Let him go after. But go ahead, hold up, and then let Daniel go.
who you give your money to is a reflection of what your values are. That's what I have to say. So if you give your money to the fucking Koreans, you give your money for the fucking Chinese, you give your money to the white man, you give it to the Italians, you give it to every other ethnic group except yourself, you are making a choice to do that shit. Ain't nobody forcing you to do it.
Can I reply to that? I'll wait till after if I gotta wait for Homeboy to go. I'll wait.
Yeah, let Brother Daniel go. Then you can reply. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. One of the challenges I see with ADOS, the brother just mentioned something that we don't have any money. Well, if you don't have any money, you can't hold anybody hostage to give you any money.
Exactly.
We don't own any. We have no lobbyists. See, every other community pool their resources. So we talking about, are we gonna wait? Are we gonna put off getting the check another 10, 20 years? Because this is an intergenerational issue. You got to have money to get these white people to do anything. We can't hold anybody hostage with t-shirts, as the brother said. Nobody fears, all that rah-rah loud talk. They fear that money, and being that we don't keep any money, it's all empty talk. So basically, we left with brothers and sisters taking their own initiative to make international moves, because we can't. Most of us who are making international moves already don't have family support. So we're not unified, nor do we have any money to enforce or get anybody to come to our aid. Especially these white folks in the government, they're not going to listen to anybody with no money, no political base. We still running behind Democrats.
All I'm saying is we need to get a base.
Daniel, real quick, and somebody just brought this up in the chat room. Does voting power count as money? So
absolutely not.
No,
technically, yeah.
It's all about the money. No, you get lobbyists in because lobbyists really run the government. Whoever ear you buy is attached to some corporation that tells the political base what to do. So if you don't have no money, it's all talk. It's all talk. And that's why nobody respects us. That's why we can't even get the police to stop shooting us, because we don't have any money to buy lobbyists to force a strong boycott.
We don't have any organization to do it. We don't have any organization of our resources to do it. And nobody even wants to do that. But yet they want to talk about we, us, and our. They want to talk about what we gonna do. We ain't gonna do shit because there is no we.
Yeah,
if you don't have a we on a socioeconomic and political level, there is no we. What we are right now, currently in this context, is a bunch of scattered individualists. Absolutely. That's what we are.
I think that's a big point that you made right now, right? That you said, because we talk a lot about money, but we also got to remember they made us money. So we get into this whole battle and we be like, money, 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 money. They can make you money if they want to right now. That's power, right? So when the brother just said, there is no us, there is no unity, I think this is one of the most crucial things, right? Because even if Africa is a place without all this, quote unquote money, they're sitting on all these riches. They're sitting on all these golds. And I'm not saying nothing to knock them, but I'm telling you, and I'm hoping that we can look at this as the consciousness that is absent, not the actual person being impoverished, right? Because you could look at it minerally and see that Africa's rich, but consciously they're impoverished. And this is the con game where another group of people with little to no money in debt also, even if you talk about America itself. And we had ancestors like Martin Luther King that also told us what we had how much GDP money as far as Black America, and we could do something with a national consciousness and also with an African consciousness. But without that, then we have what we have, the individuality. We have us saying that we're the poorest people in the world when we're really not, just like Africans who say that they're very impoverished. But I'm talking about when we look at the mineral or the actual residuals of the reality of what they have, the resources, they are not. So we have to change that construct and start thinking about this nationhood. And yes, money is important and we need to manipulate it because there is an economic war, but there's also just like a physical war, right? There's also an informational war. It's a psychological war. So we have to really start engaging in these wars. And we really have to start acknowledging what it is and then unifying, just like Eurasians unify, whether you talk about the Europeans, the Arabs, or the Asians, and they still have fractions, but nevertheless, they still come over this unity and they work collaboratively together. So even when you do look at China and you say the average Chinese individual house income is $17,000, and then you see the average Chinese person but purchasing the third to second house, it's because there's a cultural construct that is created in their consciousness that they actually parcel money together. They don't have that much money now. We just said, oh, right. They don't have that much money in comparison to like Americans, but the consciousness and how to utilize that money, the little bit money that they do have, is to acquire land ownership and house ownership. I'm not saying the same as for us, but I'm just pointing at the fact we have to change that consciousness, and then we could make money in land, in gold, in zinc, in copper, empower us, instead of it literally being under our feet, and we give it out to Europeans for pounds and dollars, which is worth nothing, and it's $17 trillion in debt itself.
Hello?
Yeah.
Everybody there?
Joe.
Yeah.
Joey, you want to respond, Joey?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be 100% honest, man. I kind of got a little lost in the sauce between the multiple takes, but I will say this. ADOS, if we are powerless, and when I say ADOS, I'm not talking about African Americans as a whole. I'm talking about the budding political group. If ADOS is completely powerless, we would not be hearing any of these candidates talking about the stuff we are talking about. They were perfectly happy. And I think the one thing we can all agree on this board is that both parties were perfectly happy talking immigration, LGBTQ stuff, equality rights, and all that talk. If nothing else, we force them to talk about this. So now if it comes down to where we don't get what we want this first time around, that's cool. But we are a presence now that they're going to have to deal with. Now, if they figure out some way to cobble together enough Latino and Hispanic votes and all that jazz, good luck to them. But this is the path we're going, and it is what it is.
All the special interest groups bankrolled their candidates to get in positions of power. The LGBTQ, whatever, whoever got something from the Obama administration backed it with money, and they were unified. We can be unified, but you still got to back it, because they're not doing this stuff for free.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
I didn't mean to jump over you. Okay. When they pay these people money, which I agree with you, I'm not going to say act like lobbyists don't run the game. When they pay these groups money, these politicians, aside from, stuffing some money away and doing dirty stuff with it, they use a lot of that money to buy votes. They buy advertising, they buy media, they buy eyes to get votes. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay. We are already the votes. See, that's the thing about black votes. The one thing we do unite on is these votes, which is why they come to us all the time, because like fools, we unite 100% behind the Democratic Party. Now, let me just say something very quickly, and I'm going to back up. They did not lose this election because all black people didn't vote. They only lost like 6-7% of the vote. So right now they're cowering over losing another 6-7% of the black vote. You can hold them hostage in that manner.
The votes that I know that the votes that I know that matter are their colleagues within the state representative and the Senate. Those are the votes that you're trying to really buy, because they all golfing buddies. They hang out together. They do everything together.
100.
So that's the real vote. They don't care about the masses, because we've been voting how long, and we still haven't gotten any progress. I mean, everybody has leapfrogged us in the last 10 years.
Can I say something? And I promise, after I say this, I'll keep my mouth shut. What's frustrating about these conversations is that everybody's talking about how to put out fires, but nobody wants to talk about water. And when you bring up water, then it's like, oh, why are you bringing that up? The solution to the problem is nationhood, having something of your own, a government of your own that you can control. And you also have people in those governments that are skilled in those positions. We don't want to organize on any level, yet we sitting around talking about we need to do this like we playing 3D chess with the white man. How are you? Why is it everybody so against the concept of All right, let me give you an example. We have 55 million. You said, Donez?
55 million. Yeah.
55 million people. This is why you know there's no such thing as black leadership. Has anybody that's a black talking head said, why don't we start an African American or an ADOS fund where people can contribute monthly to this fund? Has anybody ever did, or is this just something that I'm just so fucking brilliant that I came up with it on my own? How come that hasn't been done yet?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
There is actually something in the works to start not only an ADOS fund, but also an ADOS PAC. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. It kind of sounds like a sucker move to talk about something that you're in the process of doing and ain't done yet. So that's probably
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I don't think that at all.
Okay, but that is in the works. And for the record, that is a good idea. That is definitely in the works, both an ADOS fund and an ADOS PAC. We understand that you got to grease these dirty politicians to get stuff done. We got to do stuff through the back door. We already know. But at the same time, you have to show people that, look, these people, all these little, boule blacks that say they speak for us, they don't speak for us. You don't got this election under wraps like you think you do. You got to come to us and give us something.
Hey, I got a quick question. So with the whole holding the vote thing, like if we're demanding that they answer the black agenda, whichever that may be, it's reparations or whatever. And if not, we hold our votes, right? Is that like a method also? I'm not saying it's the only one, but that's a method also, correct?
Well, it's more so we're voting locally, but yeah, nationally, it's like, look, if you don't do this different than the status quo, we might as well not even show up. But go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm asking is that a problem for Shelby versus Holder in 2013?
No, none of that. Listen.
So what I'm saying is, because of the Voting Rights Act that got passed in the 1965s, right? That was swept away in 2013, right? So states can individually discriminate based on race because there's not a federal mandate anymore. So what I'm saying is, if that actually could be changed, and I mean, there are documentaries on it, actually people being withdrawn from actual voting lists and all these other different types of tactics that are completely legal now with that 1965 Voting Rights Act in a way. So what I'm saying is, so if I then say like, hey, let's do this with our vote, and basically they can just like not count my vote anyways, is that a problem? That's what I'm asking.
Before you answer, guys, let's get we have 380 people watching, only 196 likes. Guys, please hit that like button as you come into the chat. Again, we have 380 people watching, only 196 likes. Hit that like button. All right, go ahead.
Okay, that's a very good question, and that's part of it. Part of our issue is that most of our votes don't count, that they can openly gerrymander. There are certain areas to where our vote should be strong, and it's been rendered completely ineffective. There are also, however, areas to where our vote is super strong, like say Florida, where it just got stronger because they just released and reenacted the voting rights of about, I believe, 1.5 million black men, and Florida's already a neck and neck state. So now you got 1.5 million black men that can end up deciding Florida. That's a problem. But yeah, to answer your original question, the issue with the Voting Rights Act being rolled back and the openly blatant illegal practices that they've done to stifle our vote is part of it.
Okay, yeah, because I was just asking. That just seemed to like that would be an issue for us if I was rallying.
Right, I got you.
Saying like, "Yo, let's go vote, homie," and then I'm like, "Bro, they took our voting rights." Like, so I'm just asking that question. I was just trying to figure out, is that an issue that ADOS or anybody is aware of that runs in conjunction with those ideas that say, this is what we need to do? I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.
So do we all agree? Do we all agree that we do have money and we do have a way, if we created a fund, to get these 55 million black people to pool their resources together, and then we would actually have something to talk about? Or do we disagree with that?
I partially disagree with that. But
why?
I'll let other people talk.
Please tell me why.
I think we have enough money to potentially finagle some politicians to do what we say and to work some miracles. I do not think we have enough money. And if I caught you wrong on this, call me on this. I don't think we have enough money to form our own government anywhere at this point.
No. I'm not. That's going way too ahead of where I'm even at.
Okay.
I'm talking about organizing the resources of the people that's here in this country. I don't see any leader, any black talking head. Nobody's talking about that.
Well, see, that's
You
another
can't turn
part.
on your TV or listen to your radio or listen to anybody who even thinks that we need to organize amongst ourselves.
Well, see, that's another thing I wanted to talk about.
But this is the thing. But this is the thing. This is the thing. Not to cut you off. Per Yvette Carnell, black folks ain't got no money. Black folks
But they
ain't
got money to buy
Hold up.
T-shirts. They
Yeah,
got money
hold
to
up.
buy T-shirts. They got money for Patreons. They got money for PayPals and GoFundMe. We got money for that, but we don't have no money to have a develop an African American fund that would benefit all of us.
Well, I'm
calling bullshit on that.
I got two answers for that. And this is, let me ask a counter question to see if everybody on here agrees. I would go as far as to say we have black misleaders. I would go as far as to say we have a lot of black people in high places that look like they're fighting the power, but they are controlled opposition, and they are here to mislead black people and keep us in stupor. So that's why nobody would ask, let's start an ADOS fund.
You'll get no argument from me, because we don't have no leadership. There's no, actually, other than the BAIO, I can't think of anybody that's saying that we need to have a nation of our own. That conversation is off the table.
If you didn't,
Farrakhan.
Oh, please.
I mean them, but Farrakhan's there to take the energy.
I mean, he said it. Farrakhan.
Yeah, he said it when 20 years. Wait, when did he actually say it?
Farrakhan picked up a whole lot of Million Man March money too.
Oh, well, damn, he didn't even say it at the Million Man March. So when did he actually say we need to have a nation of our own?
He said it here and there, you know, with his some of his speeches. I've heard him say it. I could vouch for it.
I've heard it too, but it's been a long time since I heard it. I've heard Khalid Muhammad say it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
I believe we do got the money also.
We got the money. The money's there.
Union. There is that African Union ambassador to the United States and the North, South, Central.
I met her. I actually met her a couple months ago here in Atlanta.
So she got that bank already, or the campaign moving. So those are things that we could do, contribute to those different types of organizations.
Well,
no, but I mean,
hold on 1 second. Hold up. I just thought about that. Now I have to ask her. Now they want to build this Wakanda thing for the diaspora. Now I don't know if that's going to be a separate nation or how that's going to work out.
True.
She brought that up. I didn't ask a direct question.
Is there anything that we can all get on board with and support, where it's not just a fund here, a fund there, a fund everywhere? How about a fund that we can all get on board and support? What would it take for that to happen?
I'll put it like this: when all the paperwork for that goes through, I'll be the guy to bring that personally to Dynast.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
Now let me ask y'all a question real quick. Just ask a bunch of Pan-Africans or something I've been dying to know with regard to ADOS. Now, I know a lot of African people who are Africans here in America. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of most Pan-Africans I know are African American.
Right.
Let's just say you disagreed with ADOS's tone, but you wanted to get your money and get the hell out of America.
Right.
Why would you not? Like, so far, Dynast is the only Pan-African who I've ever seen that's like, look, I'm not really feeling their tone, but if they're going to give me my money, I'm going to be on the first thing smoking the Legos when I get my check.
Yeah, I'm out.
I can respect it.
I'm dipping. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, at least 30% of African Americans are going to dip.
Can I address that?
Real quick, call up. Brother Ghana Dan is out. He's literally he's building a resort in Ghana as we speak. But go ahead, Ghana Dan, and hold up. You can respond.
Yeah, I think both need to be done. We can have a front. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, man. And I just flew back in the country and I'm on the grind, man. I think both could be achieved. An ADOS front to help get the bag, but people who are already taking the initiative, we building the relationship, securing the land, and
Daniel. We lost him. All right, go ahead, hold up, and then when Daniel comes back, he can finish.
My position is always about the collective, and I feel that if, let's just say hypothetically, that African Americans in this country were to get a check,
listening,
that would be probably the absolute worst thing that could happen to us right now in our development. You know why? Because it would be like that Dave Chappelle skit.
Right, it'll go directly to Louis Vuitton and Nike. And
we're not organized. So what you're going to have is a bunch of people going out there getting their own personal shit and whatever. And then at the end of the day, after you spent your little, I don't know how much people are expecting each person to get, but after that money is gone, your whole white guilt thing and trying to trying to appeal to white liberal guilt and all this shit, that shit is done, because they're going to say, oh, wait a minute, motherfucker. Hold on. Wait a minute. I can tell you the check number.
Well, I mean,
didn't you get this? Didn't you get this for your racism and discrimination and historical atrocities here in America? So shut the fuck up. Yeah, that shit is done.
But all right,
and then in the meantime, while you done spent your money, what's happening to us as a collective? We still haven't organized anything. We still haven't put together any type of organization. And that's why I'm saying all these motherfuckers are talking about my money. Why don't you get a lawyer and go and sue the fucking United States government? If it's about you getting a check for yourself, why are you trying to attach yourself to our historical atrocities in this country? If it's just about you.
Can I answer that?
And after you answer, Ghana Daniel's back.
Sure.
But go ahead.
Very simple. It's just like an Oscar award. When the star ain't there to pick up the award, somebody picks it up on their behalf. It's not just about me. It's about everybody who went through what I went through. You might have people that ain't got the damn money to sue people. So if we want to file class action, you know what I'm saying?
I would disagree with you, because I'm seeing a lot of people in this chat room saying, give me my check. They don't give a fuck about the collective.
They deserve their check. But there are people like me. Like, look, there are people, I'm sure, within the BAIO that may do stuff that you may not agree with. As a matter of fact, I listened to your show and you got a disclaimer saying your comments and your emotions, your feelings do not reflect all of the BAIO.
Exactly.
So you might have some people, like, I'm gonna be real. If we all of a sudden got a check, there'd be some Dave Chappelle shenanigans going on.
Oh, it ain't some. It's gonna be a lot, but that's.
But you're gonna also have. It's really gonna surprise you. You're gonna have a lot of Nipseys too, and these Nipseys are now all of a sudden gonna have the money to do stuff. I know a lot of cats like Dynasty Mir.
Hey, listen, real quick. Can I read something, guys? I'm sorry, I don't want to, but I have to read this. So you just brought up. Did you just bring up the Crips, or
yes, I did.
You just brought up Nipsey Hussle, right?
Yes, I did.
I need that check.
Oh no, but listen to this. Nipsey Hussle's brother is battling the Crips over Nipsey's slogan trademark. God damn. I didn't know the Crips were incorporated.
Oh, the Crips and the Bloods are incorporated, bro. Crips LLC is real.
What the fuck?
The G's are incorporating to go ahead and take advantage of that new marijuana law in Chicago. Pookie and Ray Ray are trying.
Also, I wanted to add, when you
let brother Daniel finish before. Daniel, you back with us? Daniel.
Yeah,
hello?
Yeah, fam. I just want to keep it short.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep it short. I think both issues can be addressed on both shores, because, you know, those who are spearheading, making moves like yourself, me, BAIO, and others, we could definitely use to support, and we because we already on the ground. Because how many more generations are we going to sacrifice in hopes that these white folks cut that check? You know, and there's a lot of things that could be implemented that could be a win-win for us, with those who choose to stay and pursue the financial reality and the repair, and then we can also be in African countries, building those relationships too, because right now we damn near landless. We're a nation without a home, and until we fix our image as a group, where people will see that we are a benefit, because most nations don't associate us with all the inventions and the things that we've done. They see all this fuckery. So that's all I want to say.
If I can get somebody, if there's one takeaway that anybody can get from me on this live stream today, we got to get it through our heads that on a social, economic, and political level, we don't have a we. There's no we, there's no us, there's no our. So when I hear we, it sounds like a vague abstraction to me. It doesn't sound like anything tangible and real and concrete. My question is this: should we have it? Should we have it? Should we have an actual, tangible, and concrete we, or do people just want to settle for this vague abstraction of blackness that's existing in the ether right now? Can we have something tangible, something concrete that we can hold our hat on?
I just want to say that ADOS is doing its damnedest to make a we over here, but we get called xenophobic and that we're separating ourselves from black people. We don't hate nobody black. We don't hate nobody, period. To be honest, we thought y'all Africans was going to team up with us so we can go after these Hispanic immigrants because there's way more of them than y'all. But no, we don't got no hate for nobody.
No. I'm going to tell you. Who's that? Joey talking?
This is Joey talking.
Joey. I have no problem with you and the other brother that was on the other day. Y'all guys are reasonable. If you want to blame anybody for this, blame the leadership of ADOS. Blame them and their anti-African bullshit, because they're the ones that decided to make this into a warfare between African Americans and African immigrants.
Are you talking about Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's directly address this super quick, because here's what I'll say. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, I listened to a lot of her shows. I have not seen a show where she declared any kind of war on African immigrants. Here's what I'm going to say she said, and it's what I said earlier. I said, you African immigrants, whether you know it or not, are being used as a mask for us. And from the comments a lot of y'all say, it seems like sometimes you guys are willing participants. That can cause animosity. But
that's also a blanket statement that is not true.
Come on, man.
It's a blanket statement. It's a blanket statement. I'm not saying that there are people that don't do that, but when you paint everybody, I'm hearing y'all saying African immigrants. That's a blanket statement.
We got African immigrants at Breaking Brown. Like, no, it's not all African immigrants. I can point out to the video where she said that. Now, if you can point out a video where she or Antonio Moore said X, Y, and Z about Africans, we don't like African immigrants, but you can't point that video out.
Brother, we are grown people. We got common sense. If I come out and I say African Americans are lazy, what are you going to do?
What are you going to say? African Americans are lazy is not the same as saying African immigrants are being used to mask African American problems, because that's actually true. And that's not anybody's character.
I do remember her saying that and rephrasing, and also sometimes she tries to come back and she does say like, "Hey, we're not against it. We got people here on our panel like that." So,
if you're gonna go, can I just say this?
A show that was called Pan Africanism, did part 1 and part 2, but that's just Pan African.
Now y'all don't like that.
This girl. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm gonna tell you my personal experience. My personal experience, she done blocked me off of Facebook. Me and her got into it.
I will say that. I'm not gonna.
Me and her got into it because I called her a fucking misery merchant, which is what she is.
All right, but I mean, look, if somebody started off a conversation on Twitter calling you a name, how are you gonna respond to that?
Was she the one that started? She the one that came up with Pan-Africanism is dead. She put up all these articles about how ridiculous it is to go to the continent.
Hold on.
Part 2.
I'm going to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ambassador. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying there was a part 1 and there was a part 2. And then so I would also address earlier what you was talking about today. Like, there's Pan-Africans that are in America. And then there's Pan-African that's also in Africa, So if you look up, I got Africanity Productions. It's my own production media company in Kenya. I'm an American. I'm just down here in Salvador, Brazil, where the most Africans got enslaved and got sent over here, covering stories on the ground. That's also on Black Ambassador. So we're out here, and I'm using my money, you know what I'm saying? My personal funded money for these adventures to tell this story, to connect the African brothers and sisters so we can get to understand it a little bit better. But nevertheless, we're also building on the ground in Africa. Senegal is a great project that I got contact, Made in Africa. It puts African Americans from
with RJ Mahdi.
Yep, that brother right there. That's a great organization.
Yeah,
they're great. See, your money goes way further in Africa. You just have we have a lot of myths about Africa being so bad, or if you go there, that our money can go a long way. So there's people on the ground doing it. So it's not we're just talking in cyberspace, or we're just talking that and not really building. And we also still are from America. But at the end of the day, we just got a different battle plan. So hopefully we can come together. You work your battle plan, I'll work ours, Pan-African, ADOS. And then, if we both win, we got 2 lands, we got 2 different nations.
I agree.
If you lose, you got America, you got Africa.
I agree.
We don't talk African Americans that want to go to Africa. We don't talk them out of that at all.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you do.
I just heard you
yes, you do.
Okay, then how come? No. If that's the case, then why right now, if you go on Yvette Carnell's page right now, I believe that man's name is Ghetto Intellectual. He's talking about the 30,000 properties given to Ghana, and she wished him well and said, I literally support any African American that feels they want to go to Africa and start over.
Well, my response to that is I thank her for turning over a new leaf, because that's not what she's been doing.
Now, let me ask everybody a very quick question. Everybody's mentioned that Pan-Africanism is dead video part 1 and 2. Has anybody watched either video in its entirety or at all?
Basically what I did, I watched it until she starts taking phone calls.
Okay. Now, Dynas.
Go ahead.
I've seen you, I watch your show a lot.
Go ahead.
You've had frustrations with Pan-Africanism.
Right, frustrations, but I never said I never quit on Pan-Africanism.
Right, but
I've always been African first.
The things she names as problems with Pan-Africanism are the lack of reciprocation.
True.
You know what I'm saying? The lack of any tangibles that African Americans could tap into to make it a real thing that we could actually benefit from. Those were things she said.
Well, but I'm gonna tell you why that's disingenuous.
Let me. Can I be heard? Hold up, real quick.
Go ahead.
The thing is, I think the problem with statements like that, again, do I have my issues with Pan-Africanism? Absolutely. Do I think as far as Pan-Africanism as a whole, can I look at ADOS in the eye and say, hey, you as an ADOS here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the West End on a street corner, I cannot articulate how you're benefiting from Pan-Africanism. But on an individual level, if you are on the ground like me, Ghana Dan, Black Ambassador, I have tons of examples of Pan-Africanism. Hell, I'm Nigerian because of Pan-Africanism. I got my passport because of Pan-Africanism.
And let me ask this one last question, because this is how I would love Pan-Africanism for it to be. I want a gumbo approach. Why can't I just be a Black American and come there and bring what I bring and be proud of my culture, and you be proud of yours? I'm not trying to change anybody over there. They ain't really trying to change me. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%.
I haven't had anybody push their ideology on me.
We have no disagreement on that level. But the thing is, we constantly, the reason why this is being brought up is because we constantly fight in straw men. There's a lot of straw manning going on in these conversations. Like, I've had people tell me, how you expect to get mass amounts of Black people over to the continent? Who the fuck said anything about bringing mass amount of people? Yeah. We don't even want people on the continent that don't want to be there. If you have no desire to be on African soil, stay your ass in America. Nobody's fighting against you. Nobody's trying to convince you. But yet we get that straw man. So now I go, oh, well, damn. Well, I guess I got to get some superliner boat where I can fit all these Africans in. Come on, man. It's constant straw man. But I want to point out something that somebody said in the chat room, Dynas, if I can.
Go ahead, and Ghana Dan, you next, brother.
Grace Truth Teacher says, she's talking about Yvette. She said, Africans are not family because they sold us. So she is not family with those who sold us, yet she wants us to behave like we are family with those that brought us.
Exactly. She either intentionally or accidentally misquoted that. Yvette's video was, if you sold us into slavery, we aren't family. That wasn't a blanket to all Africans. It was specifically, and she even said it in the video. See, now y'all got me in a position where I'm being her speaker. But anyway,
hey, you decided to take it on, so you got to deal with all the consequences.
I can't have people lying on people. I wouldn't let them lie on you neither. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, she said, if you sold us into slavery, we're not family. Now, she even said in the video, those Africans, and Dynas, I've heard you say this, and I clapped when you finally said it. You said, if you're African American and you come to Africa and you want to build, do it in the bush. Do it in the spot where the elite Africans say, oh, no, come over to the Africa they don't want you to see. No, go to the Africa they show you, that Africa in the bush. Those are where the cool folks at. Go to the tribes, go to the chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Now, she's saying those people, cool, because those are more than likely the people who got taken from in Africa. But if you're some African elite whose great-grandparent, and she used an actual story with receipts of a Nigerian woman whose great-grandfather was a slave trader, and she was saying, these kind of Africans are not my family. She was specifying, not all Africans.
But then would America be your family? Like the dominant
society? We just want our money from America. Like, we don't love America's imperialism and all that.
I'm telling you, this is the unfortunate position when you try to defend people who are indefensible.
Oh boy.
I mean, I didn't get that from Yvette. I got that, pretty much any African that comes to America they sold us, and they're they're now reaping the benefits.
Son, is it even a discussion? This chick is anti-African, son. Is this even an argument at this point?
Well, she did say that she wasn't African, so that's okay. I mean,
she broke a whole DNA list to show that technically, if we're going to show allegiance based on DNA, I'm technically more Irish and not me, but her. So that was her argument. But let me just ask this.
She's more Irish, she said.
No, I guess she had more European in her than a specific African country, not more European.
More European. Well, what about her? So it was one European ethnic group that she had the majority more than the multitude of African ethnic groups that she had mixed up.
Reverse of that. She didn't have one specific African nation that was dominant over all of the various European DNA in her, is what she was saying. She had multiple African heritage, multiple European.
Okay. All right.
And the question was, where do you base your allegiance to based off DNA? If
she literally wrapped herself up in American flag. I have the pictures.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah,
what was the point of that image? What was the point of that image?
You can't defend that, bro.
I didn't defend it. As a matter of fact, I remember the video was entitled "America is our home. Let's embrace it." Now, did I like that? No, but did I get the point she was trying to make, that being here for 400 years and the America? See, here's my problem with this. This is my personal issue. We automatically assume when we're making all these arguments that America means white people. Only white people.
That's what it means.
It really don't.
That's what it means, man.
What do you think it means?
They structured everything to their benefit.
Yo, did y'all ever see Dragon, the Bruce Lee story?
Yeah.
Course.
There was a scene in there that is so applicable to what we're talking about now. Bruce Lee was with Linda Lee, the white woman, and he said the white woman's mother asked, "Well, she's white, you're Chinese. What are the babies going to be?" And Bruce Lee said, "They're going to be Americans, like me." She said, "You're not an American. You're an American citizen." Bingo. Boom. Mic drop.
Please, mom. Like, I mean, it's a hot line.
An American anywhere in this world is recognized as a white man, white woman with money.
Okay. No, but wait, hold on. But
who fights hard to be second?
Let Daniel speak.
No, Daniel. I only got a simple question. Why are we putting so much energy to fight to be second, third, fourth, fifth class citizens?
Exactly.
We're putting all this energy into still being behind dogs, where a white person's pet have more rights than us. That's asinine. That escapes me.
It gets back to my question that I asked earlier. What's the fucking love affair with this place?
Here we go.
World waiting.
Hold up.
Money.
Here we go. I know you're gonna say it. Our bones are buried here. Our bones are buried here, and we built.
Oh yeah, and by the way, that
sounds like Stockholm syndrome to me.
That line's kind of low-key disrespectful, to be honest with you.
That's not fair.
I mean, like, my bones are buried here means like my father was in the military. Like, he's a veteran. It means my great-grandfather.
What wars did your father serve in?
My father was in Korea War.
Okay, so listen, my dad was in Korea War. Listen,
right on.
Listen, the United States government ran chemical experiments on my dad. He was like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So my thing is, again, what's the love affair?
It's not about a love affair. It's about, look, your father was a veteran.
Right.
People don't go, "Oh, you're a veteran for that white man's army." No, you sacrificed.
Nah, they do.
Yeah, I was about to say, brother. I mean, that's not acknowledging.
If people say that, then shame on them, man. Because
listen, brother. Because I was in the military. I was in the United States Marine Corps. I served in Iraq, Afghanistan. I spent 2 years out of all of it. Right now that I look back, and who I am today is vastly different than who I was back then. But I don't pull a situation saying I didn't know, give myself excuses. I look back and say, what I did, I wasn't doing. I wasn't fighting for Black African people. I wasn't fighting for my people. I was fighting for another group of people who was fighting for multiple different things, land, oil, resources. It's about fessing up to what you did and then understanding what you did and how you did it and how it wasn't effective or how it was quote unquote wrong or how you was misused, right? Or how you were manipulated. Benjamin Banneker built Washington, D.C., but that was for another group of people.
And we were still slaves. He built Washington, D.C., and we were still slaves afterwards.
Exactly. So what we got to sit back and look and say, damn, okay, they got us. But it's no big deal because our ancestors only knew what we do or only knew what they knew. So we have to look back and look at that experimentation that they went through and say, we're not going to make that same trial and error. We learned from what happened with them to do something different. That's it.
Right.
You gotta have that, because if you don't, then you make then you end up justifying it, saying like, look, I died, I sacrificed, but for what? You don't have your own nation. You still get your head busted open. We still have ghettos. We still have all of this. So we have to understand that and learn the lesson. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying bad or good. They did that, so we can learn from it.
If you have a woman that's in an abusive relationship, are you going to tell that woman, well, listen, sister, I know he's beating your ass, but what you need to do is some yoga. You need to do some Wing Chun. So you in the house trying to get into the lotus position and he's beating your fucking ass.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying, look, if you served in this military, you served the country, you served your people. If something happens to the country where all your family lives on, that's a bad thing for you.
And now, I'm telling you that I've been there, that's not what happened. You dig what I'm saying? So I don't know about an abstraction and someone else telling me nothing. I'm telling you what I told you because I was there. I was.
But let me ask you, majority. This is my question.
I'm listening.
But the thing is, okay, you served. Our father served in the Korean War.
Right on.
But it was the U.S. that was doing everything to us.
Right.
That's why I'm confused. So you go fight for the American government to spread imperialism. Then you come home, then it's the U.S. government who's beating your ass. That's why I'm confused.
Two things about that. Thing number one, there are a lot of, and I'm not doing this just to go tit for tat, but I'm just drawing a conclusion here. I mean, drawing a comparison. There are a lot of African nations who do have their own nation who have still been conscripted into white people's wars.
Yep.
Number two, I'm not saying that from our service in the military that we should draw some sort of white American jingoism and take pride in the imperialism that takes place. A lot of the blacks that originally joined the military were doing so to prove that they were human and that they were fighting for their own little place in the country. Now, if you guys want to argue that Black Americans, shouldn't be in the military, I think that's kind of scary. With as crazy as them white boys are in the military, I want some brothers that are trained. Just being honest.
Another straw man, because nobody ever said that.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
nobody ever said that. At least nobody in my circle. In the BAIO, we have military people. I want military people.
Right. So why are we assuming, because this is the straw man that I'm receiving, that because these black men are in the military, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, but that because these black men are in the military, they're automatically proud of the imperialism that the military does.
No, I know that that's not true.
No, okay.
No, we're not saying that. It's you said that. Basically, I think you leveraged that to be a proud American.
No, I wasn't saying it's proud to be with the imperialism. I'm saying amongst our community, these are black folks that sacrificed for us. They didn't do it for white America. They did it for us who are in America. You know what I'm saying? That's what my father told me about.
But what exactly did we say? Okay, let me ask you this. Was Korea a threat to Pookie and Ray Ray in Southwest Atlanta? That's my question.
No,
do we have to worry about Saddam Hussein? And the thing about it is 99% of these wars were fake anyway. We had no business going in Iraq. True. We had no business going to Vietnam.
True.
So I don't get it. What exactly are they saving us from?
Well, I'm saying with that's the whole world is a stage. We're all falling for that. I'm not saying these guys are G.I. Joe and they're fighting for good reasons. I'm simply talking about the men who stood up to fight. And they're doing that. They're not doing that for white America.
Can I just say this so we can kind of wrap up this portion of it? I don't think that anybody, especially I can speak for myself and I think for everybody on this line, is trying to come at military people and say that because you fought or you went and you served the United States government, that makes you some type of a sellout or something. Whoever is saying that is a fucking dickhead.
Because the phrase "my bones are buried here," when I talk to people, they always mention veterans, military. It's not just we've been living here for so long. It's usually
all right, but let's deal with reasonable people and not bootlicking Negroes and morons. Because if we're going to bring them up as an example, then we're going to be here forever going back and forth. Well, how about the people that's on this phone right now that seem to be kind of reasonable people to me? We're having a decent conversation.
Okay, then what's the problem with the bones are buried here then? Because that's what I'm
having an issue with it.
Okay, cool. Then we'll do like Dynast. I would love one day.
No. I don't have. My issue is, again, when you say bones are buried here, the majority. When I read the slave narratives and I read what happened to Black soldiers once they return home,
horrifying,
from serving in World War I, World War II, Civil War, and we try to leverage that. It's like, number one, they didn't want to be here. And number two, their bones are buried here because of what the U.S. government was doing to them. So I don't know why you would want to leverage that as staying here.
I think that's what Dynast is saying, is that when people use that my bones is buried here as an excuse to have this love affair with America, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand that.
Okay, then maybe I misunderstood you. I'll say this. I haven't met a single member of ADOS that would have what I would consider a love affair with America. You met some.
They're in this chat room. I've been knocking them out of the room all the while we've been talking.
Wait. Are we saying these people are literally saying, I love the red, white, and blue. I love apple pie. What racism? I love this country. Or are you guys interpreting it that way?
They have to literally say it just like that. They can't say fuck Africa, fuck getting land here. Why y'all going over here? We got it right here.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I'm very, very curious about. These people who are saying all this stuff, because I've caught this too. Are these people throwing up? Because I'm not looking at the chat room. Are they throwing up ADOS? Because
yes.
I'm gonna go look at this, because here's something that I'm noticing. A lot of Pan-Africanists will shoot shit at ADOS. I'm sorry for cussing if it ain't really a cussing board. Shoot shots at ADOS. Will shoot shots at us. Now you already know it don't matter what part of the diaspora you from. You say something slick, we're gonna shoot back. So you coming over here shooting shots at us, then we shoot back. Now you're calling to the refs for a foul. So is this just people just completely unprovoked, just saying crazy stuff? Because I can't speak for everybody. I know if you go to ADOS101.com, that's the direct leadership and the direct quotes from the actual founders who we say are crazy. They'll tell you exactly what ADOS is about, and they don't say nothing crazy like that.
And I'm willing, like I said, man, I don't think that I've been inconsistent with this. I'm willing to have a conversation with people that's reasonable and where we can discuss things and come to some type of common ground. I am not anti-ADOS. And I hope that I haven't given the impression of that. I'm not anybody that's trying to organize our people in America. Why the fuck would I be against that? My only issue is this. Don't be coming after us because we want nationhood on the continent. And that's what I get a lot. And I can speak from personal experience. I get so much blowback because we want to establish a nation on the continent. Well, why y'all won't do it over there? Don't you know how corrupted it? All this negative shit about Africa, but then you want us to leave you alone. Don't fuck with us, but I'm going to talk shit about you. I ain't having that shit. If you're going to talk shit about Africa, you're going to get heat from me. Bottom line.
And that's
the reason why that's the reason why she blocked me, because I'm not going to sit there and watch you shit on Pan-Africanism and shit on Africa, and then you expect me to just sit back and take that shit. I'm gonna call you what you are. You're a fucking misery merchant.
Nah, man. Hey,
that's what you are, and you're an anti-African coon.
I mean, look, if there's Negro militants, you would have to also admit that they're African panhandlers. They're Pan-African panhandlers. So, and
of course, we talk about it all the time.
I don't think y'all have appreciation. Same way we don't got appreciation for what y'all in the BAIO and what Pan-Africanists may go through. Y'all don't have an appreciation for what we go through over here.
What do you go through that?
Okay, for example,
I don't go through.
Okay, for example, whenever something horrible happens to an African American, we like to try to use that as like a brochure for why you should come to Africa. Now, if we used events that happened in Africa, like what's going on in the Sudan right now, to say, see, this is why you don't.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Whoa. Okay, number one, there's 54 countries in Africa. The only reason why we use what's going on in America, because again, what's the definition of insanity? So my thing is the same thing has been going on for the 400 years. And when you just bring up like, hey, look, now I've never said renounce your U.S. passport or renounce your U.S. citizenship. It's just everybody else. I don't know what it is about the ADOS or Black American look, if you're, and this is why it's titled this. If you think America is Nazi Germany, why don't you have an escape route?
What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying, and we went right to the Africa being 54 countries. What I'm saying is this. America is multiple states. If we sat there and pointed out every time something bad happens in Africa, I don't think that Africa is a bad place. We don't think Black Americans, any African listener right now, we don't think y'all walking around naked in loincloths.
Oh, brother, you need to you gotta speak for yourself, man.
Whoa. Let me finish, bro. I've been super cool about letting people talk.
Right.
Super cool about that. So what I'm saying is this. When something happens in Africa, it's bad form for an African American to sit there and point that out as a reason not to go to Africa. That would not be fair. So when something happens to Black Americans and you're trying to get Black Americans to go to Africa, we don't want to hear you using some tragedy that happens to us as a, see, y'all should have gone to Africa. That's like kind of dirty. How's that dirty? Because I just sat there and said, if we did the same thing to y'all at Africa, to say this is why you don't go to places like that, that wouldn't be cool.
Yeah, because the thing, but this is the thing. I wouldn't suggest anybody go to the Sudan either.
Well, I use the Sudan as an example, and I know Africa is 54 different countries.
Right. But the United States of America is one country. That's the thing. It's one country. So you're trying to compare one country to 54 countries.
No, and then we always jump into that trap. So there's a place
it's not a trap. It's the
truth.
No. Because I always want to address the whole 54 countries thing. We don't think Africa is one giant country. But when I'm pointing out something that happens on one giant landmass, where most of the people, they're in very similar situations. There's 13 countries that are under France right now. And I'm not saying none of this to make fun of Africa. That's why it's hard talking about this, because people get super defensive. I'm not making fun of Africa. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't use an incident that happens anywhere in Africa. Even if it happened in a large part of Africa, I wouldn't use that to point out to people, see, that's why you don't go to Africa, because that wouldn't be fair. So when people point out things that happen to Black Americans, like, y'all ain't got nothing over there, y'all ain't blah, 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 we're thinking, why would y'all want us to even come over there if we're so low?
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
When he brought up,
I'm confused. I don't
understand what's so confusing about that. Y'all
I don't know who you're talking about.
In America,
because again, Africa is 54 countries. America is one country.
What are we doing with Africa is 54 countries?
No. But what he means by that, brother, is like, I see what you're saying, the landmass. But what he's saying is 54 countries. So when you go from Maryland to a different state, you don't have to have a passport, right? There's not a customs. There's not a different social organization in the government. So he's saying that it's going to be vastly different in the 54 states. And when you say, well, we got a bunch of different states over here, meaning like states like Maryland and, Florida, well, it's all under one organization and one nation. So you don't really need all those. It's not so much different as you're going to get when you move, in different countries in one whole landmass.
Yeah, let's compare country. Let's compare country to country.
Cool. Let's compare country to country. Take any African country, and you can switch them at any point in time you want or whatever. My argument is not, Africa is bad. That's not the argument. The argument is, if we cherry pick incidents of bad stuff that happens to African Americans.
Okay. Let's do this. What bad incident happened in Senegal?
Man, look, I'm not going to sit here and play Carmen Sandiego with you. I don't know everything.
Why you bring it up?
Nothing bad has ever happened in Senegal. Nothing bad has ever happened in Senegal.
Okay. So then what bad has happened to Black people in the United States of America?
There's been plenty bad that happens to Black people everywhere. That's not the point of saying which place is better for African Americans. All I'm saying is this. You would like more African Americans to go to Africa. Would you or would you not?
I would like for them to, I understand where Holum's coming from.
I know
my thing is, again, if things are so Black, my thing is, again, Black Americans are the only people that don't have an escape route, even though, again, we got Central Park 5. Trust me, 2 months from now, it's going to be Central Park 6. It's going to be Albert Wilson Park 7. It's going to be it's going to continue to happen, but for some reason, I'm just saying, look, what is your exit plan? I mean, it could be Jamaica. It could be Haiti. I mean, what is your escape plan if America is turning into Nazi Germany? That's all.
Transformative government is the escape plan.
Or buying up the block, aka buying back Nazi Germany, which I don't know how that works. But
go ahead.
If you want to get your money, get your money. I'm not saying nobody don't make any money. Buy back the block, flip houses, get your money. That's fine. But I mean, how are you going to buy back Nazi Germany?
My question is, who are we even asking the question to? Because we don't even have any organized body that we can say is going to make a move one way or another. So basically, we're talking about what is each individual going to do. And that's the reason why checks are popular. I understand. Listen, I totally understand why people want checks. Because if you got a check for just yourself, then you can make move for yourself as an individual. The problem is, what are we going to do collectively to solve our problem here in America? Collectively. Are we going to move ever as an organized body? Or are we just going to have a bunch of scattered individualists who just get a check and then they can do whatever they want to do with that particular check? How does that help us collectively as a people?
And I think I had a quick question. You said earlier, you said it's not also about money, it's also about education. So when we talk about education, I'm asking,
listen, we have the worst school system.
What are we going to do with that education when we build it? Because I think you still have to have the education towards a purpose of nationhood.
But you're talking about institutions. These people ain't the average person that I see online talking about reparations. They're not talking about institutions. They're not talking about any organized nothing. It's all about a check.
I was asking about that. He said education and therapy. He did add that in
there.
there.
Okay. So how does education look? I mean, because the school system, especially in Black areas, are terrible. So how does education look like?
Y'all asking me? I don't want to keep talking. Yeah. I've been talking a lot.
No. I was asking you because I remember earlier you said reparations, and then you said also education and therapy.
Yeah.
I was asking what that therapy and education look like. I'm just asking. It's not the.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not taking nothing as an attack, gentlemen. This is all debate.
No, I think we're having a good conversation as far as
I agree. Now, again, I'm trying to make sure I'm speaking for me. These are things that I try to put in these meetings, but I'm not trying to say I speak for everybody. My opinion, I feel like me personally, I like the looter and a riot approach. I see white people falling, and we can take advantage of a lot of different things. One thing I would love to take advantage of is what do they call them? Forgive me, I'm kind of at a loss for words. It was that movie Waiting for Superman. This the type of schooling. Y'all would know. I forget the phrase.
Is it the charters? Not charter
schools.
Yeah.
Charter schools, right?
Yeah.
Now, charter schools are relatively inexpensive to start if you're not going the brick and mortar route. If you're going the online route, you can get a lot of students educated in a lot of much needed trade that they could actually get good jobs for in the meantime. Because like I said, I personally don't think they're going to, cut a check anytime soon, but there are going to be policies with funding made for us because they're going to have to do something. It's getting too volatile. But I like actually training our children and our youth in actual skills that they could use for nationhood. We got a lot of people right now that not only have no education, but they don't even have any skills to hold even a basic job right now. And then even if they do, there's a lot of areas where Black folks live where there are no jobs to even get.
Can I ask a question just to follow up on that?
I'm all ears, bro.
Is it easier to establish these institutions when you have an actual government? Or do we expect to establish these institutions by osmosis? You give a bunch of people some money and then organically it just turns into a Black institution? Like, which would be a better way to get the institutions that we want? If we were organized or if we were disorganized?
Well, obviously the answer is organized, but I will say this. I'm not advocating for people to just, or saying people are going to just naturally through osmosis decide to do the right thing and form organizations once they get giant amounts of money. I think that there already are some small budding organizations, not ADOS affiliated right now, that just simply do not have funding. Look at how many Black Lives Matter organizations there were.
And guess where that money went?
Right.
Nowhere. But this just proves my point.
Hold on, I say this real quick and I'll let you go. These people, once they started getting money from white people, those white people could dictate what they wanted to hear. When we get this in policy, and they have, like, all we want to do, man, is be protected on Native American level. If we can get that, we're straight.
That's the end game?
Yeah, I was about to say, damn, they getting beat
up. All we're trying to do, and I'm not talking about reservations. I'm talking about like, I don't know what you got in your own personal lives, but for me, I do a lot of work with government contracts. Now, under government contract, if I'm a woman, I get special ranking to where they have money set aside if I'm a woman-owned business.
White women.
I am Native American, special money. But if I'm Black, it just goes under the pool of minority. I got to fight with everybody else. We want a Black category. That's it. We want certain money set aside for education for Black people at the HBCUs all the way on down. Why do Black people pay to go to HBCUs? It's simple stuff like that. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is this: a lot of this is going to end up being a net benefit to Pan-Africans. It's going to be a net benefit because, Holip, you're going to have a lot of Black people who are going to come to the natural conclusion of nationhood once they got this money. And you got a lot of broke white people looking around at all these new Black people with money. It's not going to just be, this is how I see it going down.
How much money do you think each individual Black person is going to get? And why do you even think that that's the way that reparations should be doled out?
Okay, again, I do not think that a check is going to be the only form. I do not think they're going to add up, $14 trillion and divide by 48 million. That's not what's going to happen. But just for shits and giggles, let's say the actual cash amount after education, after your taxes are removed, after the other things I'd like to see be a part of this package, I wouldn't really need to see much more than 300K liquid in my personal account. Now you're talking about, let's say the base was 300K liquid. And again, this is just me here talking. This is not King Adolf talking. This is me talking. 300 liquid between the average African-American citizen, plus education, plus no tax, plus the home buying voucher that your grandfather didn't get after the war. I also would need something because this is also something that I'm having a problem with that I can't figure out a way around. Black folks, even when you do have the money to buy a house and you buy it in a Black neighborhood, your home value isn't worth as much.
The system's rigged. I did a whole video on that. It's rigged.
So we're not advocating for a check. All of us know if we got a check tomorrow, they just raise the price on everything the next day. So we're not.
I want to ask you something because and I'm not being sarcastic. I swear to you, I'm not being sarcastic.
I'm listening, bro.
But I always, when I'm by myself, I sit back and I always ask myself, am I crazy? And I'm going to ask you why. What government do you white folks have here in the United States? It's called the United States government. It ain't a bunch of scattered organizations here and there. They have a government that works in their interest.
Facts.
True.
When are we going to get it through our thick fucking skulls that we need our own government? We need our own land. We need to control our infrastructure. We need to have complete, total social, economic, and political control of our environment. That's the answer. Not sitting up here playing these games with white people. I mean, that should be the end game. Why in the fuck would that not be the end game? It makes no sense to me. We're going to sit here. So the end game in America is for us to have the same status as Native American. So we're going to sit up here and be still under the socioeconomic and political domination of white folks.
No, there's not Native Americans.
That's the end game.
Native Americans would be a problem, man. That would be a problem.
Would you say?
But do y'all feel what I'm saying? Why is it that we so fearful of pulling the trigger on having our own shit?
Because every
that's
leader
just some fucking fairy dust and fucking unicorns.
I would say every leader that actually did that was killed and assassinated, right? And then majority of the information, their ideologies, their methodologies, those things are not provided to majority of Black people. So Marcus Garvey, you talk about the Honorable Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Bobby E. Wright. These people are not known of to the majority of Black people. Who is small space of small understanding of Martin Luther King. I had a dream, integration, but his nationalism is not something that's provided. So I think, like you said, it's not so much about it's partly being scared, and it's not even something that somebody understands that they need to do. They really bite into like the Constitution, or like he said earlier, the system's rigged. The system's not rigged. The system's operating.
It's operating exactly the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Because that's what it was built for. You were built here to build this place and work for this and get raped and all these different types of things. So nothing's rigged, nothing's broken, everything's quite fixed. But in our minds, we think it's broken and it's rigged and it's duped and it's not righteous. No, it's completely righteous for the purpose in which they built it for. Anything outside of that, moral, ethical, it's irrelevant.
Thank you. Amos Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me just make this one statement. Amos Wilson said this before an election, and it literally changed my life when I heard him say this, because I never heard anybody just put it this plainly.
Yeah.
He asked, what were African Americans or Africans brought over to America for? Labor. Free labor, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What is the main source of income for African Americans here in America? Labor.
Labor.
So what's the fundamental change that happened between us coming over here to slavery and what we doing right now?
They don't need that labor. We got
if anything, it's getting worse. Like you're right. They don't need the labor because now they have other people to supply it. But that actually strengthens my point.
The constant remains. That's what Dr. Amos Wilson said. The European constant remains. No matter how much it changed, the terminology or whatever, it's the same constant in service of European domination and European power. So yeah, like that's what Dr. Amos Wilson was getting at. It just remains the same. It's just kind of different.
And I hate to be redundant, but every team that's in the NFL wants to win the Super Bowl. And I look at this, all these countries and all of these governments and stuff, everybody's trying to win the Super Bowl. We don't even want, not only do we not want to win the Super Bowl, we think it's illegal to get uniforms and coaches. We don't want coaches, we don't uniforms, we don't want training, we don't want
no cleats,
none of that. What we want to do, we want to play the New England Patriots with street clothes on. And dress shoes.
And
we want to go out. We want to go out on the field and then say, you know, all it takes is for every person to just use, you know, their personal passion. You know what happened? All of y'all motherfuckers and your personal passion gonna get stomped right into the fucking field because you don't have an organization.
Oh, you can't even.
You have to organize. I don't understand why this is so fucking. I've been saying this shit for 10 years on YouTube, and I'm still getting pushback on it. We have to organize.
Okay, so let me take that real quick. Let me ask y'all a question based on that organized stance. If the Crips and Bloods can form blood cousins, which I looked it up while we were talking.
Blood cousins.
I swear to God, they got a corporation called Blood Cousins.
Where's this going? Blood cousins.
I don't know, but ain't for effort, I guess. But listen, if they can do it, then how come all us African Americans, whether you are BAIO or whatever you are, on the basis of getting some money, ain't nobody asking you to march. We don't got no ADOS rallies, no nothing. Just on the basis of getting our money, back us on this, and then the second we get our money, give us the middle finger and walk off. Why would you not do that?
I'll tell you why. If somebody wants to beat who's the champ now? Terrence Crawford, boxing champ.
Nah, the Hispanic Ruiz.
Anthony Joshua.
Knocked his ass.
I won't even count that motherfucker. I'll go for the lower weights. Terrence Crawford is the champ, right?
Okay.
You tell me, yo, I'm gonna beat Terrence Crawford's ass. In the meantime, you don't do any road work. You don't have any prelim fight, so you're not fighting any opponents. You don't have any sparring partners. But you do have a personal desire to kick Terrence Crawford's ass. Why should I invest in you to think that you're going to win that fight? When you don't even want to do the basic legwork to get yourself prepared to fight this individual.
You just
I don't trust people that don't want to organize.
But
I don't trust
the organizing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
We got a site right now. The BAIO has a site. I'm doing a self-plug. I feel we have a site where there's no money involved. And you know what basically it is? It's a social network of people of like mind who want to have a nation of their own. The only thing that's required is for you to do is to sign up, go to your local chapter, and communicate with people of like mind in your area. That's it. We ain't asking for no money. We're not asking for you no blood and urine samples. What is the reason why somebody who claims that they want power won't join that site? But you're on Facebook.
I don't know if they said they want power.
You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram. You're on all of these fucking, and then you get on them, and then you complain about how much bullshit. Yo, this Facebook shit is some bullshit. Why are you posting on Facebook?
Let me ask you a question, Howard.
Nobody wants to join a group where it's just basically they're just saying, listen, if you want to put people of like mind together and you want to be around those type of people, join the site. Nobody's asking you for any money.
Let me ask you a question. In your endeavor for Black unity and Black nationhood, would you say that you've run into more issues with white people, white supremacists, or black people?
Black people, because that's all I deal with.
Okay, that's the same thing we deal with. Like, I can understand if somebody has a fundamental issue with ADOS, especially a Pan-Africanist. I can dig it. But when we get labeled Russian bots, when we get labeled,
God,
come on.
Yeah, but don't worry about that.
Can we deal with the people that you're talking to on this
Yeah,
phone?
I'm not done though, because I'm not talking about you per se. But what I'm saying is this: most of the battles we deal with in ADOS is through other black people, and I don't got no problem. Like we're talking right now, talking about actual issues you may have with ADOS, asking actual questions. But the stuff that we deal with on a regular basis is that comic book stuff, as I'm sure you probably do. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't think that's, exclusive to black people, right? So if you look to any movements inside other groups of people, they usually deal with their own people. You know what I'm saying? So as far as confrontation, right? So
right,
for a lot of women rights, white women deal with other white women, right? Or white men or something of this nature.
Right.
So
using the white
with our own issues, we don't want to make it a
business.
The thing is that I want to clarify is that nobody is asking this brother to try to speak for the idiots in the chat room or to speak for Yvette. I'm just telling you how I feel about Yvette and I feel about the founders and how I feel about and I'm going off the main website. I'm doing them off those people who are the founders of this thing and what my issues are with them.
But you haven't pointed out.
I'm not asking you to defend them. You decided that you wanted to defend them and jump up and say, well, she didn't mean that. She meant that. Listen, if you can do that if you want to, but I'm not requesting you to do that.
No. See, we're not going to play these mind games. See, now, if somebody said you said something that you did not say or twisted your words, I would.
What did I say that twisted her words? She's not anti-African. Are you going to sit on here and tell me that Yvette Carnell is not anti-African?
No. Hold on. You said you used as an example her Pan-Africanism is dead videos. Did you not?
Yeah, that's one of the examples.
Okay.
I wish that I could have copy and paste the conversations that we had on Facebook before she blocked me.
Okay, and I asked you, I said, did you watch the videos? Now, Dynas is the only person that said I watched up until the point where
listen, Yvette, let me tell you why Yvette Carnell blocked me. Black Panther, I can't believe they letting non-ADOS get active jobs in Black Panther. See, sometimes it be for ADOS. Well, Yvette, how about ADOS create our own movie distribution, our own studios, and then we can hire ADOS. You want us to do what? We ain't got no money to do that.
Wait a minute.
It's like, God damn.
I got a question about this. Ain't defending Yvette. This ain't got nothing to do with Yvette, but I do got a question about that, about the actors. How come the Black Brits are not expected to build their own infrastructure?
Dude, okay, listen, this is the thing, bro. At the end of the day, who is cutting the check?
Exactly. We fighting.
I mean, that's the thing. And it's like, okay, I understand, Yvette. So how about ADOS come put their money together and start their own studios? Then you can hire all ADOS.
We in the best position to do it too. We got the best actors.
Okay,
platform. It's called X on Demand by a Black sister. It's a distribution platform for Black actors and Black directors. So she can't even say we don't have the money because the platform's already created. So we have it. We just gotta go.
Give you 1,000 platinum. There's a sister right now who has a beer company. Why are we still buying Budweiser and Miller and the rest of this shit? She's got an up and functioning beer company. If you love beer, you have parties. Why can't we all jump on board and support that sister?
So Joey, if I could just be heard real quick. So Joey, that's why I'm just like, Yvette, come on now. No. But then she gets, I've seen, and again, not pocket watching, $500 super chats, $200 super chats, selling t-shirts now.
Yeah, if we ain't got no money, put that super chat money back. You can't take, I would feel guilty taking $500 from somebody when I know Black people ain't got no money.
I think we're going to kind of play a word association game with the phrase got money. I don't think we're talking about people who have $0 and 0 cents in their bank account. Mm-hmm. It's more the money you have gets spent on things you spend to live. We don't spend a bunch of money on Jordans and spinning rims like everybody likes to make.
Shit.
Okay, no. Okay, go ahead.
Most of our money go to spinning rims and Jordans.
Keep going. Keep making your point.
I'll stop. I've been talking a lot. I'll stop.
Joey, listen. I go, like, sometimes I teach in some of the, I guess, so-called impoverished inner city schools in Alabama, and I've been to some in Atlanta. I kid you not. When I was in school, back in high school, back in 96 to 2000, if you had a pair of Jordans or Fourposits, like, you had money. Everybody in the school, girls, sew-ins, and J's are Fourposits. All the boys, Jordans and Fourposits. Where's the money coming from? And think about it. When I was in school, the J's would start with like 100, 110. These J's now are starting off like almost $200.
$210, bro. I don't want to say where a lot of that stuff's coming from, but you know what I'm thinking. It starts with a B and ends with Ooster. But
okay.
I will say this. I'm not sitting here saying that you will not catch some black people that probably spend their money wrong. What I'm saying is if you look at what the average black African American spends, or if you look at the nation, we're not, as a whole, spending a bunch of money on Jordans and rims like that. That's not the reason. If you had every black person in America stop spending money on Jordans, stop spending money on spending rims. Now, the weave is a different story. That's like an $8 billion a year business. You got me there. But on the other stuff, that wouldn't really change our outlook much.
Yeah, no, I got what you're saying. And I understand she makes the same correlation. She says, like, look, okay, you got this company, but that's not a real conglomeration, right? That's not Apple. That's not Google, and which is understandable too. But when you think in nationhood, you understand that nations do have small industries too.
Oh yeah.
And
am I the only one?
Industries and invest in themselves. So while China could easily say, Facebook, come over here. But they're going to say, no, stay out of here. We have WeChat. We have these. We build our own platforms and we protect our own platforms. So I understand what she says when she says we're not no Apple. We just got this small business. But you have to be at the fundamentals before you get to the empire. We think Europeans are going to cut us the check to get us the empire. And if you're right, then okay, they cut us the check and then we get the empire. But nevertheless, also, we have to invest in ourselves and maybe not get too mad about Brits, playing these roles and that roles. We should be able to create platforms and then invest in ourselves and focus on that. And once that becomes it, then we could be like, China, end up saying, okay, yes, you banned our telecommunication companies from America. So what? We built our own platform silently for the last 15 years. So we have our own operating systems. But so this is how you need to think nationhood.
This is the thing that frustrates me is that is nobody seeing how disingenuous her argument is and how contradictory it is? Because I love it how people want to compare themselves to actual nations, but they don't want to have one of their own. So you want to act and behave like the Chinese do. You want to act and behave like the Jews do. You want to act and behave like all of these other ethnic groups that have a home base, a nation state that they operate from. But then when we talk about having a nation state, it's fairy dust and unicorns. It's frustrating for me, man. It really is. It's frustrating because it's like I said, it's like being at a firefighter convention and it's illegal to bring up the topic of water. Nobody wants to talk about what would actually solve the problem. You're going to compare yourself to Apple and all these other organized, the Chinese and all the other moves that other people are doing because they're organized. We're not even organized. We're in street clothes trying to play the New England Patriots. I don't know how to make it even come up with a better analogy than that. That's what we're doing. Can we at least get some uniforms? Can we go start training? Can we get some coaches before we start talking about beating a Super Bowl champ?
Yeah, you're right. And come together too, all different types of backgrounds, Hebrew, Israelite, Nation of Islam, whatever it may be. Let's just put that to the side. And like
exactly, I naively did that, brother, years ago when I was in my 20s. Me and my people, my cousins and my best friends, we all got together and we had the same mentality that we said, well, damn, the Hebrew Israelites believes that the white man is the problem. They may call him whatever. I don't know where he came from in their ideology. The Nation of Islam, no matter what segment of the Nation of Islam at that time, they believed that the white man was the devil.
Good old days.
You had all of these groups, the 5% nation. You have all of these groups that was in our community talk about how the white man is the problem. So us and our naivete said, well, wait a minute. If y'all all agree that this is guy right here is the problem, then that's a common denominator. Why don't you come together to do something about it? And that's when I went on my journey to education and knowledge, because then I realized how full of shit people are in our community. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about us collectively. All they doing is separating our community like drug dealers do. I'm gonna do my thing on this and hold my weight here. You hold your weight over there. I'm not thinking about getting together with nobody.
Yeah, true.
And that's what the deal is. That's the reality. We don't have all of these people out here talking this shit about black this, pro black that. They don't give a fuck about black people. Because if they did, it wouldn't take 400 goddamn years to come up with the concept of having a nation of our own.
Well, there's an economy that benefits from Black folks feeling lost, confused, and looking for something. Sometimes it's the church. A lot of times it's a lot of different sectors in Black consciousness.
True. And
that's the problem. That's an easily. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, yeah. We got to look at something simple like ADOS, and even before ADOS, right? This is why I called Yvette on the channel herself and said, hey, look, I know you might have a problem with Boyce and y'all see things differently, but at the same time, we need both generals. We need a general in politics. We need a general in economics. We need a general in linguistics. We need a general. So as why you think your platform is the most important for our liberation, we need both of those. It's not just one or the other. So instead of splitting Martin Luther King and Malcolm X up, let's put them together because they're better together than separated. And that you end up doing is taking your camp of ADOS all day and going left. And then, financial literacy goes right. And then now y'all act like y'all don't need both. Because when you get that reparations, you're going to need financial literacy. And before you even get the reparations, you're going to have to start constructing financial literacy. So it's like, put those personal egos aside, those beasts, and worry about the people as a whole. Everybody's following you because mostly they're going to follow your lead in such a way where they really take two. So that's why I think the brothers have issues or take up a caution with what's said, because sometimes things can be taken out of context and it seems very anti-African. No matter what.
Can I address what he just said?
That's what it feels like.
I want to talk about Boyce after you're done. Go ahead.
Can I address what he just said? And I agree with it, by the way. But I think that the presupposition is that we think that this is an ideological difference. We think that the reason why these groups aren't getting together is because of some ideology. No, they're not getting together because they don't give a fuck about us collectively as a people. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but it's the truth. They don't care. All they care about is their own individual brand, their own individual ideology. But like I said, the BAIO, I'll use that as an example because I walk the walk. I'm not just talking shit. There's people in the BAIO who are atheists. There's people who are Christian. There are people who are Muslims, different types of Muslims, Sunni Muslim, this Muslim, Nation of Islam Muslim. Why is it that we can all be in the same group and not cut each other's heads off and everything is like a Royal Rumble every time we get together? You know why? Because our common denominator is land, infrastructure, and nationhood. We don't come in there preaching religion. We don't come in there preaching ideology and all this bullshit. What we're talking about is we all need a land of our own. Because last time I checked, I'm in New York City. There's all types of ideologies in New York City. Guess what? When you swipe your goddamn Metro card, they don't ask you, are you vegan? They take your money. If you can be a fucking child molester. If that child can go through that machine, it'll take your money just like everything else. They don't differentiate. But we sitting up here and we dividing ourselves by bullshit. Listen, man, if we really want, I use this analogy all the time. If 10 people are in a room and you have a light socket and a working light bulb, and I close that door and I come back a week later and that room is still dark, then what that means is that nobody in that fucking room wanted that room to be with light. That it was more important for you to be the one to put the light in than for all of us to actually have some goddamn light. So it's all ego, it's all bullshit. And if you're really serious, get amongst people of like mind who actually say, you know what? We got to have a nation of our own. It's right there in the BAIO. BAIO, if it's 55 million people and black people in America, BAIO should at least have half of that in the fucking group. But the bottom line is people are just talking shit. They don't really want to get together. They don't want to really, because they're comfortable here in America. The white man provides comfort for them. He takes care. When it snows outside, you don't have to worry about getting your black power construction crews. The white man can take care of it. All you can do is sit in your house and just wait for him to clean the roads. We're comfortable. And we got to admit that, man. We got to admit that. If we want anything to change, let's admit that we're not doing shit because we don't want to fucking do it. But the people that do want to do it, they're joining up and they're getting together. So I would love for people to be a part of that. If you really want black power, you want to have a nation of your own where you control the social, economic, and political structure, then get with people who want to do the same thing. Anything other than that is just bullshitting. We just playing games. We acting like we playing 3D chess with the white man. Come on, man.
Hey, got it, Dan still there? Daniel, you still there? Daniel. I guess not, but I mean, shoot. I mean, on that note, I mean, anybody want to say anything in closing? Anybody?
Yeah, I just dropped this off real quick. First of all, thank y'all for letting y'all have me on here. I appreciate it.
Thank you too, bro.
I was just gonna say, man, to any black Americans, man, look, it's not. You shouldn't feel guilty for the good things you contributed to the country and the world. You don't got to feel guilty for wanting to get what's due to you. Every business that there is an accounts payable and an accounts receivable. It is time for you to collect your money, and you can do whatever you want to do with it from there. If you want to go to Africa, you can go to Africa. If you want to stay here, you can stay here. You can build here, whatever. You get the chance to actually be an American instead of having to carry all the baggage of American imperialism, but none of the benefits of any of the actual money. So that's all I got to say. You are owed what's due to you, and we're trying to get it.
All right, Black Ambassador, anything you want to share in closing?
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks, brothers. It was a great build. I think it was positive. We definitely had a great conversation. Definitely, I'll be hitting you brothers up. I'll be hitting you up, Search, when I come down there to the continent, which will be like next 2 months. I'll be over in Kenya, still doing documentaries across Africa. I'm already part of the BAIO, so shout outs to them. It's a great organization. They definitely got a lot of things structured and great conversations I had in that circle. And I'll just close out with saying, brothers, thanks for the conversation. Let's just keep building. I know we see things differently, but nevertheless, let's look for nationhood. If you didn't think about it before, think about it now. And then we consider what your position you just made. So let's just work together and get it done. Because, you know, black men are getting shot. Black women are being raped, molested. So we got to get this shit right. And all that other stuff in between, we'll figure it out. But we got to get moving and organized, like the brother said. Black Ambassador out. Much love to everybody on the panel and the audience.
Peace to you, bro. And can I just want to give some props.
Take your time. Take your time, hold it.
I want to give some props to Joey because he stepped into the lion's den and he presented himself, you know, reasonably. You know, we actually had a good conversation. So I want to give him props for that, man. Despite disagreements, it doesn't mean that we can't talk. You know what I mean?
We all hate the same white person.
I appreciate the fact that you actually had this conversation.
Likewise, brother. Much respect.
Guys, I mean, this is a great dialogue, great build, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you go to the BAIO name site. I put the link in the chat room. Make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the page. Again, I really enjoyed this. Till next time, family. Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.